Okay, hey guys, welcome to the live. Okay, there's something very laggy. I don't know. I felt like I was lagging as I was talking there for a second. I don't know. Anyways, Aspen's in the house and Jermaine's in the house. So we've got the whole tribe here tonight. And Aspen, he'll be right back. He's just feeding his kitty cat, Beatrice. And so, anyways, just say, hey, CJK, how are you? Hey, everyone. Hi, Fibro. Sharon Parker's in the house. Hi, Sees Through. Let's see, True Crime Housewife. Charmaine's there. And let's see, It's a Crime and Shame. All right, Streamlabs. Strictly Chaos. Hello. Hi, Jenny. Hi, fam. Donating plasma, so can't chat. Okay, Jenny. All right. And so, like I said, Aspen will be here in a minute. Tonight, we're going to go over this one that's in front of you is Jennifer Coffindaffer one. Bad Jenna, bad Jennifer. Anyways, and then we're gonna go over. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. If it's Micah or Mica, I think I'm gonna say Micah for now. Micah Miller, that big kind of case that's going on that's just kind of swarmed the internet all of a sudden the last few days, and then Sebastian Rogers, and then we'll get into Delphi as well. So we'll do Delphi on the latter part. To be honest with you, this one, Jennifer Coffindaffer's one's going to be short. Not too bad. Anyways, Alexa had sent me this little clipping of Jennifer Coffindaffer. And so, anyways, before we get started, of course, Charmaine, welcome back.
Hi.
She was out visiting the grandbabies.
Sure was.
Yeah. Feeling tired?
Yeah, it was a very fast, long weekend for me, but it's worth it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I know it wasn't exactly uh like a long weekend, but you took Friday off. Um and like I said, I know you know what, honestly, every time the weekend comes, since I've been working, it's just like it just goes like
Yeah.
so fast, like boom.
Charmaine, now she knows how we feel.
Yeah.
Head felt.
Right?
Yeah. Hey, you gonna pop your fug mug on there, Aspen Connor?
Yeah, in just a minute.
Oh, I know. He likes to be the star of the show. Yeah.
Gotta catch my breath.
I know, right? You're
Yes.
racing downstairs to get Beatrice food. Now you got me picturing you like hauling ass down the stairs there.
And then crawling up them.
Oh, sorry. If I have a coughing fit, I'll turn off my mic. Sorry about that. It's been just trying to still get over that stupid flu. Husband, it just takes me off. Husband gets it for 2 days. Oh yeah, it's only a 2-day flu. Don't worry about it. 9 days later, okay. Say hi to Alexa, please. We'll do Sharon Parker and Miranda. Hey, Miranda. Alrighty. Yeah. Well, tomorrow we know is the Delphi thing and everything like that, but we'll get into Delphi in just a bit here. Aspen Connor, before we get started, how was your day?
It was good. It was long. I was glad to see there was not a ton of movement in the Delphi case today because we all know that can be distracting when you're trying to do other stuff. And I was like, oh, a whole day with no court filings? What?
Yeah.
I mean, thank you, Faith.
Yeah, on top of the weekend with no court filings, it was nice.
Well, I mean, I get them over the weekend, Charmaine. You might not, but
Right. You're good.
As if you share immediately.
Adam's special.
Yes.
I'm gonna call.
We don't know what he does to be special. I can imagine.
I was born that way, the doctor said.
Well, that too, but I'm talking about with Faith. Like, why does she like you so much?
Well, she likes Adam, but she loves me. There's a difference there, to be honest with you. I
Oh,
haven't
you
even asked her for any, and then she's just sending it. Actually, Aspen, did you notice that? I was wondering why one day why Eric said, "Thank you, Faith," and it was in my Gmail, right?
Well, I can tell you why, actually.
I know why. I know exactly what happened.
All right.
She started getting smart and started just tagging everyone.
Yeah, but she didn't hide everyone else's email the first time.
No, she didn't. Right. And so, yeah, so I'm sitting there going, oh, there's one for Travis. There's for Eric, for Sunny. Yeah. Hey, Robin, how are you? Okay, so just quickly again, Alexa had sent me this, and it says Canton cover up whatever part. Sorry, the frog in my throat. 343, owner of 34 Fairview Road, furious with Jennifer Coffindaffer after getting caught trespassing on the ring camp video. Let me just show you that a little closer. Okay, so there's Jennifer, bad girl. So do you even know? I mean, only because I looked it up. Do you know what whose home 34 Fairview Road is?
It's with the Karen Reed case, right?
Ding 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 ding. Yeah, we got a
Yeah.
winner.
Because and if anyone's watching that court case, I am not watching it very closely, but I have followed it closely enough to know that every time they talk about the address in court, they say 30 Fairview, they say 31 Fairview, 32 Fairview, 34 Fairview. And so it's interesting. So I'm like, could they not get the correct address in the police reports?
Right.
What was
Right.
she doing there? Does your little video say what she was trying to do?
Actually, it showed nothing. It just showed the pictures. And so I just went and looked it up and, so, I mean, but okay, I said trespassing. So let's say I don't know you, Charmaine, but I go up to your door to knock because I need to maybe want to ask you if I can talk to you or something like
Right.
that
Or
while
if you
I'm
know
there,
God.
you know. So would that be considered really trespassing what she did?
Well,
No,
did
but
she have an Amazon package in her hand? Okay.
No.
and I mean, is it? I don't know. I don't know anything about the case, but is it under somebody else's? What do you call it? Um, Care and control. Like, is it in somebody else's custody? The house. Like, is it?
No.
It's not a crime scene or anything.
Right. I don't know if they have signs up or not. I would assume at this point they probably do, but
Mhm.
I mean,
It just said the owner.
right. And again, and I don't know, like, I don't like to speak on something unless I know I'm right about it. And I don't know enough
Yeah.
about the Karen Reed case to know exactly the details.
Yeah.
But when I heard this earlier today, the first thing I thought of was when Greg Hughes ran away from the
Oh,
outside of
Idaho.
the Moscow house.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Um. So I noticed, and because remember, we've heard this name a few times, and it said something like "donate to Turtle Boy." Remember, we've heard that name. A
Oh,
few times.
Turtle Boy, that's yeah.
Yeah. So Turtle Boy obviously does a lot of true crime, and I think that's one that Travis said was in jail for like 30 days or something like that, or something about something. I don't even know, to be honest. But anyways, I'm gonna give her a pass. I'm gonna give her a pass on this one. I think it was just one of those things that it was Jennifer Coffin-Daffer. I think if it was anybody that was nobody, we wouldn't have seen anything.
Yeah, I mean, you can't tell me nobody else has gone to that door.
Yeah,
Like, if there's nobody
right.
there,
I
who's
just,
living there? Anybody?
hey, not that it was showing, no. You know, it's
Yeah, I
just
don't
showing.
understand what the big deal is then, depending on what she was doing there.
Yeah,
If I remember correct, I think, and again, I don't know the case, so I'm hesitant to even because I don't know the guy's name. I believe that it's the best friend of the victim, and possibly a portion of the front yard is where his remains were found. I believe that the crime happened outside of the house.
right.
But again, don't quote me on that because I've watched a little bit of the court case, but I don't know the ins and outs.
Yeah. Well, um, there was like I know that there was two homes, and so I wasn't really sure because there was the home that he was found outside in front of, that there's supposedly that she had run over him and stuff like
Right.
that. So that perhaps is this home. I'm not positive, but I think it is this home is where You know,
He was
you know
he
what?
was found off Fairview. I just don't know the exact address.
Yeah.
And I
Anyway,
was thinking too, like this was not
Karen
last
Reed.
week, you know what I mean? So Lone Pony said they don't even own that house anymore. So
That's what I didn't think so. Like I
Right.
wasn't
You know
sure.
what, Charmaine? I like you said that because when I'm on Whiteman Drive in a week and a half, I don't want to hear any new owners complaining.
Right.
did they
Right.
sell that house? Did it sell?
Oh yeah, so
Mhm. Yeah.
So ask new owners if you can have a little tour.
Yeah.
For
Right.
what purpose, I don't know, but it would be a popular video for you.
hi, I grew up here and I just wanted to see my
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna give her a pass. That was the Karen Reed case and John O'Keefe that we were talking about. Oh, hey, there's Travis right there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give Coffin-Daffer a pass.
We're gonna give her a pass. Same with Turtle Boy. Okay, so the next one we're gonna talk about, or I'm gonna play a video for, is Micah Miller here, and this is to do, of course, with the pasture. But let's just play this out first.
Questions growing around the unexpected death of a South Carolina pastor's wife.
There's got to be some accountability here.
30-year-old Micah Miller was found dead at a state park in North Carolina, about an hour north of where she lived in Myrtle Beach. Authorities opening an investigation into her death, but saying the community is not in danger.
She was probably the greatest wife anyone could ask for.
Her husband, a pastor at a local church, announcing her death after preaching last week, saying it was self-induced. Authorities have not confirmed or released a cause of death. Some community members protesting outside the church Sunday. This, as Micah's friends and family say, they don't think she took her own life.
We were talking about her coming to church Sunday, getting her some help with her car payment, just life stuff, just her moving forward.
Clark saying Micah was planning to get a divorce. She had filed for divorce once before in October 2023. That case consensually dismissed in February. In March, Micah posting, "Please share this with anyone struggling with leaving a dangerous situation."
God hates divorce because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that?
And this was her last Facebook post. When terrible things happen to you, y'all know what I'm talking about. RPF.
And we're gonna take that one down, and we're gonna go to. Oh, hi. We're up close and personal. Then we're gonna go to this one. Hold on. Stream. Press that. We'll get back to the cause of death in just a second there, Miranda. Okay. So should be here.
We're not going to do an altar call today. Instead,
Oh, what happened to it? Didn't it play?
Oh,
Can you
is
guys
this
see it?
is this the sermon where he talks about it?
Yeah, but why is it doing? Okay, yeah, why is it doing that
I'm
though?
going to make an announcement.
Can you see it?
And
Yeah.
I'm going to ask that you.
Weird.
It's hard to hear, but I can see it.
Why does it keep doing that?
Talk about the announcement here in the building, please, if you can. Y'all can stand to your feet.
Loudest I can make it.
Okay, I was thinking it's hard to
Let's
hear.
say that my request to you is that you will continue to come to church and serve and give for the next little bit, because I don't want to have. I'm taking a little bit of a break, and I don't want to have to worry about the church. My break may be a few days, a few weeks. I don't know. I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And yeah, it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina. And we're gonna have a funeral for her next Sunday here at 3 p.m. And so it's all I can. Yeah, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And she wasn't. Y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed medicine that was hard to get to her. And so I'm sure there'll be more details to come. But just keep our family in your prayers. And I'm going to let Pastor Randall, a bishop, he can pray. I'll give him a microphone. He'll pray out.
Okay, so it's going to stop there. Did you see? You could hear that, right?
Yes,
We could.
Okay, it's so weird though that it's showing it like this every time I go to the thing. It was weird. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so basically, where's the thing that came out? Hold on, I want to see. Okay, let me close off this for a second. And was this the one where I had it? Okay, so where's the cause of death had come out? 1 second. Okay, so the cause of death did come out, and I'm just.
Didn't you just send that to us there, Aspen?
Well, yeah, but Sunny's ahead of me. Like
Yeah.
I
Well-
like we're on the same wavelength. But as soon as Sunny was like, "Oh, time," cause of death, I was like, "Oh, here, let me send her the article that she's about to play."
Oh,
Oh, okay. Well, hold on a second here, because I'm sitting here on it, and I thought I had another one open. Is it this one?
Is it the right?
No, that's not it. I thought I
Yeah,
had
because
another.
her cause of death was revealed today, so I sent Sunny a video about it. But I think it's the same one that she opened.
Let me just take a look, because the stupid thing is that I literally had it open, and where it went. Oh, I don't know. Oh, it just ticks me off because I had it open. 1 second. Okay, top stories. Is this the one? Okay, well, let's go to this one here. Stop screen for a second. Hi, guys. Micah Miller. Okay, so, okay. Micah's death has been the focus of. Can we see all this? Okay. Much speculation that she had died. Her husband was the first to call Micah's death a suicide. Her friends and family then came forward with the questions and concerns about her death. We were talking about her coming to church Sunday, getting some help with her car payment, like she just said. Oh, where is it? Why is this so hard? Cause of death. I literally had the perfect article. Anyways, it's not hard. The cause of death was a single bullet, and it wasn't to the back of the head like what was speculated with her. Now, in saying that, a lot of people, believe that John Paul Miller, the husband, because of the different filings and stuff like that, believe that he had some involvement in her death. He's not been charged with anything up until this point, but the family, of course, was feeling like no, like again, she was going to be there on Sunday, car payments, that she was going to, that she had, like said, there was a bunch of different filings, okay, and then they backed off of them, each of them, and then pretty much, really, what was it, a couple days, after he was served divorce papers, then she's, dead. But there was, I don't know what happened to that article I had. Now there's this person, and I know JLR has talked about this person, Cody Alcorn, that people have come forward saying that Micah Miller, Micah, I'm not sure, I feel bad, made a 911 call and
Micah. They said it in the news thing.
Was it Micah? Okay.
Yeah.
And had a conversation with dispatchers right before her death. The conversation indicated that she was alone at the time.
Right.
And so, it's one of those things. I did a poll and I said, do you believe John Paul Miller killed Micah Miller? 26% said yes, 7% said no, she took her own life, and don't follow the case, 40%, and 28% unsure at the moment. Now, knowing that, so the coroner deemed it as a self-inflicted wound and said that it wasn't at the back of the head. Now, there's a lot of people that aren't going to believe that, but considering there was a 911 call prior to her taking her life, and that indicated that she was alone, this could very well be someone that was depressed.
Yeah.
And knowing that she was Gonna get some. Okay. The reason why I say that, honeys, do you need me? Okay. Oh, did you? Okay, nice, sweet. The reason why I say that, you guys, is from personal experience. So I don't usually talk about things like this because it's not really my personality, but I've been in that space where you just feel that what people would see outwardly to what you would know inwardly sometimes about me, when I have been in that space where you're just depressed and sad. And I've thought of many ways how I could take my own life, but I'm not that type of person to do that, because I wouldn't want to put that sorrow upon a person. They talk about our car, about a payment. So obviously there's a lot going on within her life. So just meaning it is very plausible that the space that was in her head, people might not have known about, that it was maybe as deep as it was, possibly. So I'm going to not make a judgment at all on John Paul unless for some reason he's charged, because
Same.
I know this space that she possibly could have been in, but she opted to perhaps take her own life because that's what the coroner's report said. And this is very possible. She just could have been in that space where
It's tragic regardless.
Absolutely.
And speaking from the standpoint of somebody who, like, I've had a family member do this to themselves, and when you're a family member, you don't understand and you cannot believe that they did that they didn't, ask for help or whatever. It has to be something else, something else. You're always looking for
you search for answers,
external, something to blame. So there are a lot of people that think that it was not what the medical examiners say, but that to me is natural for family.
right?
I get
it. And I mean, and I'm sorry, but I mean, I think we've all followed enough true crime to know that all of the ingredients for a juicy or spicy true crime story exist in this case.
Yeah.
And I think it leads people to automatically want to assume, much like it did with Nicola Bulley.
Yes.
It makes people want to assume that there's something definitely nefarious happening.
Yeah.
And trust me, when I watch this guy, I get the biggest ick feelings in the world. Like, everything about him gives me creep vibes. I'm like, he's not teaching me anything about my salvation. I can tell you that. But does that mean he, clearly they were headed towards divorce. I'm sure there were a lot of contentious things going on in their personal lives. Clearly, if she was having problems making a car payment, that points towards that. But from what I've seen, the details of this case fall in line with, sadly, that she felt that there was no other option than to do what she did. And although I don't ever agree with that option, I feel like, tragically, it might just be as simple as that. But again, I still, every time I see this guy, I'm like, ugh.
And I agree on that. It's not like I get these great vibes off this guy, but I would say, like what you kind of said there, like a little bit icky, whatever you want to call it. But knowing if there was a 911 call and that it was deemed that she was, by herself, again, I get the space. So, it's just that for me, I'm just not a person that, could do that. As much as you sometimes think about it, I just couldn't do it.
Did you see JLR confront him?
Yes, that little video where, well, actually, it wasn't that JLR confronted him. It's not the one where he drove up to JLR and said, "Stop filming."
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was one of those.
And he's like, "Did you kill your wife?"
Yeah. Well, it was. I was gonna say, because it was one of those things where JLR was standing there. John Paul, whatever. What's his name? John Paul, right? Drives up and says, "Can you stop filming?" And then he closes his door, and the JLR is like, so whatever, did you kill your wife or whatever he said, something like that. did you have anything to do with the death of your wife or whatever it was? So yeah, it was a very brief encounter.
But once again, he's everywhere.
Isn't he though? Right? Because it with the Delphi. Shame on you,
Shame on
Richard
you, Richard
Allen.
Allen.
Shame on you. What's his name again? The other guy. Oh my goodness, Murdoch. Shame on you.
Alec Murdoch.
Yeah.
And sadly, we won't have the opportunity to hear JLR yelling that tomorrow at Richard Allen, because there's a tunnel underneath
Right.
the Allen County sheriff's or courthouse to the Allen County jail. So we'll get no footage of Richard Allen going into court tomorrow.
Yeah, on there. So okay. So with that being said, regardless, right? Prayers to Micah.
Micah and her family.
Yeah, of course. She's a beautiful lady. I have a beautiful niece that looks very similar somewhat to Micah here. And tragically, ever since she's been 15, she had such low self-esteem. Now, my niece is my husband's age, actually, 33. And it's kind of one of those things is that when you see Paige, you go, wow, what a beautiful girl. But internally, she struggles herself, though, with depression, drugs, and actually self-confidence. So although she could have been so many things, unfortunately, her lack of self-esteem and all that, but it's one of those things is that, like I said, you look at this beautiful lady here and you're like, what? Like, no, you wouldn't. You wouldn't think she would take her own life. Like, she's got so much to live for. But again, sometimes what you see and what's inside a person could be two different things. Well, definitely with a lot of people, it can be two different things. No one will usually ever know I'm depressed unless I tell you I am. Other than that, I don't show or go to work talking about my personal stuff. I just put a smile on my face because I just do that. It's almost like I have two worlds, my inside world and just the world that I typically do every day. Not that I'm trying to fake being who I am every day. It's just that I just choose to always go to work smiling because, the other stuff, you just box it up and package it away in a sense. So I don't like doing alone time. If I'm with myself too much in my place, the brain just starts, my brain is a thinking brain. It's always thinking. So, not having a job for a year and a half up until recently, and stuff like that, I started feeling old. I started feeling just down on myself a lot, to be honest with you, that I wasn't helping my husband and contributing the way I should. And it was just making me feel depressed. My son doesn't speak to me, even though, he's a little ungrateful little child. He's, it's undeserved. It's just absolutely undeserved. So he's treated me like I've been a piece of crap for 10 years now. And I'm tired of that, tired of my broken family. And sometimes it just gets a bit much, Sometimes it just gets a bit much. And so it's kind of like, yeah, you just get in that space. And sometimes it just feels like you would rather almost not be here, But then again, I'm not that person that could do it, even if the thoughts come to the mind sometimes. Everyone has those moments in their life. I'm not a typical depressive person, but everyone has those moments. And maybe with Micah, it was all a bit much. Who knows? Either way, rest in peace. I think bad PR and the cause of death wasn't released until today, and he said he needed a break. Yeah. You know what will be really sad is because I seen where it said that he lost his job or something like that, like as the pastor. So it will be very sad if he loses his job based on speculation, of people. Because I remember that was being talked about because he said he was taking a break, but then I seen it where it said that that basically he had lost his job. I know my sister to have expressed abuse and violence against her by her husband to others, including family members and members of the church congregation. To have expressed the abuse and violence. Talk about talking about your sister, Travis?
No, that's a quote.
Oh,
That's
okay. Well, I wasn't sure. I seen the quotes in there.
yeah.
I know my sister to have expressed abuse and violence against her by her husband to others, including family members and members of church. Hey, I'm not saying he's a, good person. That's for sure. Again, might be, but it just simply might be that it was a self-inflicted wound, and
Right.
she called 911.
I mean, because I think
doesn't mean he's-
I think it seems to indicate that he had a new girlfriend. I don't know if the new girlfriend is who had been harassing her, allegedly. But, just that alone, I mean, you build a life with someone and then they move on faster than you and they're posting pictures of themselves on social media with, that
Yeah.
sometimes alone can
well,
send someone over the edge. And,
her tires were being slashed, that there was a
Right.
tracking GPS tracker on her vehicle as well.
Yep.
So just let the story play out the way it's going to supposedly play out.
And people are all over it. I mean, people are
yeah.
sitting out in that front yard waiting for him to come in and out.
It's one of those things. I'm not saying he's a good person. At the end of the day,
No, look at him. Ugh.
yeah,
Ugh.
I know. I know. I got the same kind of vibe you did. Like,
I get snake oil salesman.
Yeah.
100% from this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, there's no charges against him at the moment right now. So he's not charged with anything. So for me, I'll just see how it plays out.
Right.
If there's involvement on his part, of course, then of course, bring on the charges.
If I weren't headed in the other direction next week, Myrtle Beach is only 2 hours from me. I'd just hop on down there and ask him.
Then you can bump into JLR probably on down there. Yeah. Anyways, so like I said, it was. I'm only bringing it up today because I was paying attention to it for a few days. I seen a bunch of YouTubers like picking up on it and stuff like that, and I just want it only because when I was listening to Hey JB today, I thought, okay, well, you know what, let me just bring it up for the people that have been following this, and just say a few moments for Micah Miller, because bottom line is, regardless of what happened, she's no longer here. So prayers to the family and prayers to her, and how whatever comes of the case will come of the case regardless, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm not jumping on no bandwagon of he's guilty. Like, he might not be the best person in the world, but not jumping on no bandwagon if he's guilty and stuff like that. There's no charges, but not to say he's not this awesome, amazing person, because I'm sure he's not. A lot of pastors are not these amazing, people, to be honest with you. I think we've experienced that many times in my lifetime, for sure. Watching some of these con pastors and different things and stuff like that. But you never know what happens behind closed doors in relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where was she found? In a river?
It was a state park, about an hour north in North Carolina. I didn't hear
Lumbee River State Park, it was called.
Which I'm not familiar with, and I know the area very well. So
yeah,
it must not be a huge one. I'll have to look at a map after we're done.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So anyway, so we're gonna go on to Sebastian now.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's go. So the News Nation came out not too long ago with Sebastian Rogers. And so yesterday I did a 3-hour live. Ooh, that thing almost had 3,000 views, Aspen. Yesterday.
Oh, wow.
I didn't realize how many people were bored yesterday on a Sunday. Anyways, so now we're going to talk about Sebastian. So there was the photo that we know of. So Tony Mathis, which is a spokesperson with Seth Rogers, him and Seth were going on News Nation today, and tomorrow they'll be on Nancy Grace. And so let me play this out. It's 5 minutes and 40 seconds, guys.
This is a case of accidental misidentification or of a deliberate and sick hoax. His father, Seth Rogers, says there is video of the sighting as well. We're hearing authorities are looking into it, but whatever it is, the image adds a new twist to an already bizarre case. And joining me now is Seth Rogers, Sebastian's father, and Tony Mathis, a family friend who was helping Seth and his family out. Thank you both for being here. Seth, I've got to ask you about this photo. When you look at it, do you think it's Sebastian?
I do.
You're sure?
Pretty sure.
And I understand you drove to North Carolina to check it out. What did you find?
Drove to North Carolina to see the video. I was told that the video was unavailable to me because of an investigation.
Where did the video or the photo come from? Do you know?
My private investigator has spoken to the person who took the video. The picture was taken at Grandfather Mountain in North Carolina.
And why would he, your son is autistic. Does he know anybody in North Carolina?
I don't know.
And how far away is North Carolina from his home? How many miles, do you know?
It's about a 6-hour drive with no traffic.
Okay, so no idea how your son would have gotten 6 hours away to a whole different state with nobody that you know. Nobody you know in North Carolina, no reason for him to be there.
No, ma'am.
Tony, first of all, let's clarify your involvement in this case. You are not being paid by Seth to be his spokesperson. You're just volunteering to help him, right?
Correct.
Okay, so what have you been doing? What have you been able to find? What aid have you been able to give?
So I've only been officially with Seth since Friday. I traveled all weekend. We've set up some interviews. We're doing more talking back and forth and coaching as to how interviews should work, which interviews to take, how to make sure that we're prepared for the interviews. And quite honestly, we're just trying to cut out the drama in the case and get refocused on finding Sebastian.
Has anybody gone and interviewed any of the people or gone to the underpass where it appears he is in this photo?
I don't believe so. We wouldn't know if law enforcement had done that or not because we really haven't got much information from them regarding this, which we completely respect because it is part of an ongoing investigation. We were given quite a bit of hope when Seth asked to look at the camera footage from the state park, and law enforcement told the state park not to show anybody the footage because it was part of the investigation. So, we feel like if there was nothing to see here, then there would have been no problem with him looking at the footage. So we're hopeful that there's something positive going on.
But wouldn't police want the missing teenager's father to look at the footage to confirm that that is in fact the missing teenager?
So I ran Seth through this scenario the other night. Let's say that there was footage of him walking and getting into a car with a license plate, and Seth caught a glimpse of that license plate. I think Seth could tell you what he would do if he got a license plate number and thought his kid may be somewhere. You can answer that again, Seth.
I'd be knocking at their door, probably aggressively.
So I mean,
go ahead.
We're trusting that there's a good reason that they're not letting him look at this video. It could be for safety. It could be for vetting purposes, but I know it's hard as a dad not being able to see that video.
Seth, your son was at your ex-wife's home when he vanished, his mother's home when he vanished. What has she told you about, he disappeared according to her in the middle of the night, correct?
That's what she said.
Has she told you anything else?
Just what the news knows.
So you're not speaking to her yourself directly?
Yes and no, but it's not.
And do you feel, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. We're speaking about future things like the vigil that's coming up, things of that sort.
All right, this is a very mysterious case. Are you hoping, Seth, that the FBI gets involved if it's a missing teenager, underage, who's now across state lines?
I would truly hope that the FBI would take the lead, because I believe that is my son and he is across state lines. And I would really, truly appreciate it if the FBI did take lead on this case.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find.
I would take the lead.
Okay. Oops. Where's the banner? Banner's gone. Banner's gone. There we go. Okay. So that was new that just came out, like I said, today with News Nation. Tomorrow they'll be on Nancy Grace. So, I'm still going to be talking about Sebastian for a few more minutes. Got you guys' thoughts?
I feel terrible for Seth. It's hard to, well, I guess I kind of understand why law enforcement wouldn't show Seth the video, but she's right. Wouldn't they want the biological dad to have a look and get his thoughts on whether or not that's his son? It's just, I mean, I get it, but I don't get it at the same time.
Right.
And how traumatizing and torturous for Seth, for all the parents.
Considering, Charmaine, that they could just show him a clipping, they don't need to show him getting into a vehicle.
Right.
You know,
Hello, BG.
Right. So, anyways.
Even though it was traumatic for the families of Libby and Abby, they showed them the video that Libby took on the bridge.
Yeah. Didn't they say if you want to see it, you can see it. If you don't want to see it, you don't have to. That to me is more respectful and responsible than just not letting them. I don't know, unless they already know there's nothing to the video. Like I don't know.
Well, see, right, and that doesn't make sense to me. To torture someone for this long if there's nothing to it.
Right.
Thank you, Daisy.
You know,
gloss that baby.
Oh, thank you, Daisy.
Yeah, gloss that baby.
I don't have any gloss.
I do.
Me.
I will.
Travis said I get a bad vibe on the whole thing. And I do too. And I'm curious though, if Travis, do you get a bad vibe from the sighting of Sebastian or just the case in general?
Thank you, Daisy. He has one PI.
I'd say the case in general would be my thoughts.
Well, I watched Justin on TikTok yesterday who had Tony Mathis, which is the spokesperson. And he's been treated rather poorly by people instantly judging him. Now, I listened to him yesterday, and honestly, I really felt bad for the dude because this case has turned into a bunch of monsters. A lot of people that are just like the drama and the nastiness of people would.
Light brown skin. $4.99. Thank you. Gloss up baby. Lipstick. Kiss mark. Light brown skin.
Why does it keep saying that? Huh, that was weird. It was like saying two different things there. Weird. Thanks, Daisy. Okay, so I'm going to show you something in 1 second. What did the polygraph come out on Seth v. Nancy Grace? Inconclusive because of medication? Something like that. I think his mom spoke out or something like that, and or misspoke about that or something like that. I remember. Anyways,
something I've noticed, Sunny, really quickly before you just mentioned about the spokesperson.
Yes.
Sadly, I think it's becoming more and more common because, true crime is, of course, a huge industry, and people are jumping onto cases more and more quickly. And something I'm seeing, just personally play out is that the people that we have access to are the people that start getting suspected of being involved, regardless of the circumstances. It happened in Idaho with the only names that were made public: the surviving roommates, Jack at the food truck, Jack the ex-boyfriend, It happened in Kylie Rodney with Sammy because Sammy was the spokesperson. It happened in Nicola Bully with Emma because Emma was the spokesperson. And so sadly, it's like, in every case you get someone that decides to step up and be the spokesperson. And I don't care what their motives are. Some people like attention, whatever. But immediately in these cases now, they're the ones that automatically get suspected of being involved.
Yeah.
And I think, not, and I'm not saying this person's being suspected of being involved, but there's suspicion on him because he happens to be the spokesperson.
I listened to him for about an hour on Justin on TikTok. He was working, so he's a crane seller. Sorry, he's whereas say Christopher Proudfoot operates a crane, his business is in, I believe, selling of the cranes, but one of those things where they might know the same businesses because you talk to Christopher Proudfoot, but they would never cross paths typically, type of thing. So now, so basically what he said was that a friend of Harris, whatever Caleb Harris's dad's name is, are friends, and he asked if he could, basically help ease and talk because he had heard good things about him or whatever. Knew he was a good, good person or whatever it was.
Is it Randy?
Pardon?
I think Caleb's dad's name's Randy, if I remember right.
Yeah, Randy, that's right. Okay. And so during that time, so also, for instance, Tony Mathis had said that he had gotten as well, like a lot of advice from Gabby Petito's dad, Joe Petito, as well. Now, that Seth and Tony Mathis had been talking prior to this, and he was just offering Seth, some advice and whatever. And then Seth had basically said to him, like, look, you going to help me or not? Basically, be a spokesperson, kind of like help ease his burden. He gets no fee whatsoever. When I was listening to him, I agree. When sometimes, like myself or anyone else that knows this, why is it lots of times that the good people that try to offer help for no other reason besides to help get shit on so fast? I will agree with that because I've seen it happen to myself many times and other people many times. And it always frustrates me to no end how people are just so always willing to judge so fast on people. And this guy was pretty much attacked right away. Now, so in saying that, I listened to him. There's no selfish reason for him for this case besides Seth and him talking. And Seth said basically, look, are you going to help me or not? Right. And he said, sure, and then he basically was talking about, trying to get all three of them, and try to calm down the chaos that was going on in a sense. And so he still was working on the fact of getting Katie and Christopher on that same page. Now, I would prefer to, however, see Seth in his shirt with Sebastian on it and not the same polo shirt that he wore yesterday in yesterday's interview, because that's his son. It should be on his shirt. So I don't agree with this whole little looky-do of the, polo shirt thing. Put back on Sebastian's shirt, Seth. But secondly, again, so I want to show you something. Now, SF Investigates has always a lot to say, a lot of people follow him, including myself. And I want to show you what he put, okay? Now, he's an investigator, and he helps do a lot of things, but he's a very vocal person for sure. So this was his voice to the Sebastian Rogers case. So yesterday he put, I am stepping away from Twitter. Can you guys see this? Here, let me make it bigger. Let me just make it bigger. Okay. And it says, I am stepping away from Twitter until Sebastian Rogers' case concludes. Unless there are major updates in any of my cases, this case deeply troubles me. The individuals involved in it unsettle me. For those new to the missing person community, please understand that this case does not reflect how cases are typically handled or the character of those involved. All those associated with it likely have done so much damage to their reputation, they won't be part of of the community any longer. You'll then witness the true nature of our community, how it rallies around victims and their families rather than engaging in baseless accusations and intentionally causing pain on others for their own entertainment. The appointment of Tony Mathis as the spokesperson is the final straw for me. He lacks any experience in media relations or public relations. It seems like a calculated move. The removal of one of the private investigators, which Tony will frame as everything is swelcome moment, when opened a dialogue with so basically the PEI who had opened a dialogue with the TBI and Sumner County Sheriff Office is a blow to the case, since they were the only person on Seth's team that LE would talk to. Tony will never have that connection. Law enforcement simply won't collaborate with an individual who has 3 felonies for fraudulent check writing, 6 liens, and 12 judgments against him. They won't associate with felons, which will isolate the entire Seth Rogers group, making them appear as cohorts taking directions from a felon. It's a damaging image, and one has to question why Seth is so desperate to involve himself like this. There must be something significant about to transpire. And whomever recommended this individual to Seth, I genuinely have no idea, has cast a shadow over the entire missing persons community. We all look incompetent. Law enforcement will be so reluctant to ever work with private investigators after what has happened here. I never witnessed a case like this. Many people, including the professionals, will suffer the consequences. I don't understand why they'd allow it, why they chose the hill to die upon. My heart aches for Sebastian. This chaos is unfolding in his name. My God, I'm not leaving Twitter permanently, but I will be absent until this case concludes. I can't bear to be associated with the community while this situation is allowed to persist. For any existing or new cases, please contact me versus that. Okay, that was a whole lot of words. And
Sounds butthurt.
Okay. So I don't know anything about his past. I never looked up the dude at all. About any felonies or liens or judgments or whatever. So between you and you guys in chat, feel free to make your comment there as well. What do you guys feel like about Tony in general? So Aspen, what do you feel?
I had no opinions on Tony going into this. I didn't know who he was. I know the post you're talking about by SF. I like SF Investigates. I have followed many of their updates on different cases throughout the last, 2 years probably. But I also have to admit that I felt like this post was a little bit self-involved. And I feel like, once you become a part of a story, and I feel like this was very centric on I'm not going to cover this. I will cover, but I feel like there's a lot of passion in Sebastian's case. And I feel like SF has been very passionate about Sebastian being found. And I think his opinion or their opinions on this have gotten the better of them and allowed them to be distracted by, whatever role they wanted to play in this case. And I support that. If they decide to step away from it, go for it. But as far as who Tony is, whether Tony's credible or not, I don't have an opinion on it because I don't know. I'm not familiar with Tony, other than what I'm hearing from other people online about him.
Right. Charmaine?
But I mean, we'll say at the end of the day, I support Seth. I support any effort to find Sebastian, and I don't even care someone's motives. Like even when like we had like the Cajun Navy out there, like if they had actually served a purpose and a good and a positive role, I wouldn't have cared whether they were the original Cajun Navy or blah blah whatever. Anything that finds Sebastian, I'm good for.
Yeah, thank you. Charmaine?
Well, I mean, I don't know a thing about the guy other than what the YouTube streets are saying, but I thought it was odd that this person with no PR background was brought on. I understand that potentially it was Pascal that linked them up, but his inexperience is shining through. You know, he's there to talk for Seth, and instead of doing that, he's telling Seth to answer the question. I mean, I always thought a PR person was to protect your public persona, I guess, and how you're coming across, and also to protect your personal liability and from saying the wrong thing. And how are you going to do that with, number one, no experience, and number two, by telling him, I'm going to let you answer that. You know what I mean? It's just, it's odd. It's odd, but I hope it helps.
I was going to say, like, okay, so I can see the difference in Seth, how he's talking, how he's holding back, to how he would just typically be talking, that he is more aware of what he's saying. You can see it when he's speaking. But let me put it this way. Whatever Seth wants to do, he is the parent. Katie and Christopher are the parents and stepdad and stuff like that. If this guy is helping for free and Seth wants his help, so be it to me. Like, honestly, you know, I wouldn't say that Seth definitely knows his way. Like, you know, he's the kind of person that comes across like, you know, doesn't really know much about that whole aspect of it. And if somebody comes along and says, hey, can I help, you know, type of thing, and he's talking to them, I think he just takes the help because he just feels like he just could use some. Probably doesn't think much about it.
He's desperate.
You know, just, yeah, someone that's, you know, and I'm not going to sit here and knock this Tony dude. I don't know enough about the guy. All I know is that I listened to him yesterday on Justin of TikTok. And honestly, all I felt was sincerity coming out of him. That, look, like, maybe it might not meet everyone's approval of, you know, if he's just because he's like a crane person and not really a social media person. He's not sitting there claiming he is. It's just that he was asked to help in the in Caleb's case because of being friends. So like a friend, I think it was a friend that knew Randy or whatever, that, you know, said, hey, you know, I know this guy that's, you know, pretty good speaker or something like that. Not that he's a professional social media dude. At the end of the day, I think his heart's in the right place though. And he just, and it was Seth that basically said, look, are you going to help me or not? You know? And then he was just like, okay, you know, he'd like to work with everyone together because he has paid attention to this case. And it's not like he was going, oh yes, let me put myself in this case. It was kind of because Seth had basically, this is from Tony's mouth, that he had said, like, Seth was just like, so you're going to help me or not? And he's like, okay. But so I would say give the guy a break somewhat. Now, I watch and pay attention to a lot of what SF investigates, and I respect how he feels about it too. Honestly, everyone has their own opinions, like him or not. You know, if Seth feels like it's helpful to him, you know, and he wants it, I like the Seth that just kind of came out and talked. I like the genuineness of that. I think that it's been let me put it this way. After the web sleuth thing, I really felt like I was watching a Jerry Springer show. And I really thought that they just all needed to stop. They just all needed to stop with the drama of, you know, this stuff being said about Katie and Christopher, and about Seth, and the whole thing just needed to stop. And
Right.
it was like, just adult up and focus on Sebastian. Get over your all selves and focus on Sebastian. And I still feel that it feels like to me that Christopher Proudfoot is the one that keeps getting butthurt, in a sense, by things that Seth is doing. And you can tell how strong and uncontrolling type of person he is. And so when things seem to get his goat, it's almost like it doesn't matter if it's about Sebastian or not. It's just like, no, if he's going to go on a show and start talking crap about my wife and this and that, then how are we going to work together? Well, because it's about Sebastian first and foremost. So I do wish that the waters would just calm down and the focus be on Sebastian, and that they all work together. I would really like to see Katie and Christopher and Seth at the next vigil, working to find Sebastian, regardless how they feel about each other. And then it's not helping with all the drama of some YouTube creators that honestly, I was listening to some the other day, and I was like,
because people pit each other again. Divides are there clearly.
Yeah.
But people will automatically try to position themselves in a place where they're supportive of one camp or the other, and sadly they end up creating more and more of a divide, because they're in their ear going, no, don't accept that, you do this, do that, and then they like that exclusivity they get. So it can be very divisive. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Sonny.
No, not at all. I'm just very, I always get very disappointed when it just becomes a drama fest. And okay, I was pretty offended the other day when I'm watching a show, and Christopher Proudfoot calls in, and he's trying to pretend to be a different person. Like, he's pretending to be, I think it was like Sling Blade, whatever movie that's from, or whatever it is, or anyways, he's pretending to be a character off there. So for me, who the heck does that? I've seen Christopher myself do so many things that when you're looking for a child and you want to play mind games with people, grow the hell up. Grow the hell up, Christopher, okay? Because to sit there and make a phone call and then try to pretend like you're a different voice, and you're laughing at it, in a sense, and you're mimicking, and you're taking people for fools, and you're lying about polygraph tests, and then you're playing head games, grow the hell up. Make it about Sebastian. And the channels that literally as literally laughing at that, it was just disgusting to me. Like, maybe even a different whole time of something else that might have been funny, but this is about a missing child. And what step parent calls into shows, besides their own egotistical arrogance, narcissistic attitudes, that literally want to portray to be a different person and mimic their voice, or use a voice changer to try to, be stupid in a sense. Anyways.
Can you imagine if the Williams or the German family
Oh my God,
had done something like that? I mean, look at the way they've been crucified for 7 years by trash that question their motives and their involvement.
Yeah.
And look, we have Chris Proudfoot doing this 60 some days after Sebastian goes missing.
69.
And there are people supporting him. I'm like, I mean,
that's what I don't understand.
I can't. And I understand from, I don't know enough about this guy to know whether he's sincere or not. I only know that I want to support Seth and whatever avenue he chooses right now to help find Sebastian. But clearly people in the chat have very strong opinions about this guy. And if he is a piece of trash, it will very quickly become apparent to everyone. And I'll look more into it. So, maybe, by Wednesday, I might be like, oh, yeah, I was wrong. This guy is disgusting.
Social media and people with a past. Well, it's a two-way street, isn't it? Because we see a lot of channels that have a past, and people support them left, right, and center. And yet these same people are bashing somebody because they have a criminal past.
Some people
That's
just like to support the dark horse. you
yeah.
know?
Right. Travis says, why can't Seth pass a polygraph? Why did his story change on that?
His story, in what way? What way did it change? I want to answer Daisy quickly.
I agree, Daisy.
How did the first video first get linked to
Oh.
Sebastian? Yeah. Go ahead.
I meant her next comment when she said, we don't have to like the parents to support Sebastian.
Correct. And we don't. I honestly, like if it comes down to the bones of it, I don't care about what Seth says. I don't care about what Christopher Proudfoot says, and I don't care about what Katie says, because I was not there for them. The person, the victim, will always be the person first and foremost. So let's say Seth had an issue with me or Christopher. I don't care. If I want to cover a case because I care about it, I will cover it because of the child, not to care if somebody likes me or not. In a sense, it's just, to me, it's when I saw Sebastian, right? When I think it was when you sent it to me, Aspen, like I said, meaning I'm listening to everything they're saying and stuff. But at the end of the day, it will always be and has been always about the victim of a case that means the most to me. Whether Seth was on a live with us or not on a live, or whether he's in chatter, really has no impact on bringing awareness to the case.
Right.
And that's the point of it. It's like Seth and Katie and Chris. It's
right.
Like I said, it's about a boy that's in front of us that we see that is missing. And you just want to spread it so that whoever might not know about it, or maybe somebody feels guilty if they do have
Absolutely.
them, comes forward. That's what I care about first and foremost.
And I'll never apologize for having empathy for a family member of someone that has a missing child.
No.
If it turns out that person played some role in their disappearance, of course I'll condemn them. But as of right now, I've seen no indication that Seth had any involvement in Sebastian's disappearance. I've seen no evidence that Chris Proudfoot or Katie had involvement. If I were to speculate on that, I've said, that if something happened in that house, that one of the Proudfoots were involved, but I would never blame them publicly. And my heart breaks for them because all three of them, they've lost this child, and our only goal is that he is alive. But at almost 70 days, I don't know.
Yeah. And yeah. No, just quickly though, I still want to get back to what Daisy had said here. Didn't she? So the reason why the video came out. So basically, there was a person, Daisy, at the Grandfather Mountain that believed that they saw what looked like Sebastian. Apparently, that person was in a rush to meet up with somebody, and so basically just took a picture thinking it looked like Sebastian, and then this handed it over to the police. And of course the police could go back there and grab footage of the video because they got cameras all over the place of that Grandfather Mountain. And so this lady that took the picture, her friend is the one that posted it, saying that her friend is the one that took the picture, thinks it looks like Sebastian, anyways. So that's how that really all came about. And now it's a matter of just finding out, because this has been over a week now, is that Sebastian or not? Seth believes it's Sebastian.
Did she say why she didn't call 911?
Because Seth's PI talked to her, but they had, besides Nick Barris saying that he talked to the lady who is the friend who did the posting of it. Just basically it was a fact that she was in a rush. She just took a picture thinking that this person looked like Sebastian and turned it over. I think it was just one of those things. How people's personalities are, right? Some people just go, maybe it is, maybe it's not, and then looked at the picture again and thought, you know what, this does look like Sebastian. And some people are just like that. Like I can picture that just because I've come across many people in my life that are just very passive about stuff like that.
Right.
Either they don't really want to get involved.
Well, and you naturally want to assume it's not that.
Right. Like, what are
You
the
know, so-
chances that you're looking at
Right.
Sebastian?
You automatically doubt yourself. You automatically go, it's like, no, that can't be it. Yeah, it kind of looks like it. And I'm sure once they might have gotten a little bit more confirmation from other people they showed it to. Thank you, Gail.
Thanks, Gail.
He got a super chat. $5. Thank you.
Thanks, Gail.
I mean, if it's not photoshopped, I can absolutely see where someone would take a picture and think, hey, that kid looked like Sebastian. They get back in their car. They're clearly on their way somewhere too. They're at a rest stop. They probably get some confirmation from whoever they're with that, that is him or that's not him.
They probably started comparing the picture a bit, I bet.
Yeah, they probably started looking more and more into it. And they probably finally came to the conclusion that they needed to tip in. I can't say that if I were in the same situation that I would automatically call 911 because my first instinct, I think my first instinct would be to explain it away. I think my first instinct would be like, that it could have been him, but a lot of kids could look the same. I only saw him for a brief moment, blah, 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 whatever.
I think that hopefully everybody learns a lesson that better safe than sorry. Like, call. If you see something, say something. We hear it all the time. Just call.
Right. That's how you get 7,000 tips in Delphi.
Yeah, but this boy could have been found. You could have been found. Like, I'm sorry, I don't excuse it so easily.
No, I know. Like I said, and again, that's if this picture is legit.
Yeah.
Well, the picture is legit. They've already confirmed that.
Oh, they did confirm it's absolutely not photoshopped.
It's not photoshopped, right?
Okay.
It's not they've already confirmed that. Yeah. So the picture. So it's just a matter of. So the shoes aren't the same shoes, by the way. I looked at them again, but they're very similar. So meaning, let's say Sebastian wore a certain brand of sneakers. And maybe because obviously he didn't leave the house with sneakers.
It looks like a different color, but yeah.
Well, the bottom line is, if when you truly look at it, the one sole is fatter than the other sole. One has more the ridges coming down, whereas the shoe that is in the picture. Why am I here? Let's pull up that picture instead.
Gail says it's him.
Gail
says it's him.
I think it's him.
I think it's him.
With you. Let's just bring that picture up. Just so people can take a look at that.
And I know some people were talking about that when people were saying that it was photoshopped. Like I was like, the shadowing, everything lines up to me, like from what I saw.
I didn't think it was photoshopped when I first.
I didn't either. I just know that was speculated on.
Yeah, and that's going to happen, like anything, right?
As it should.
Right.
Can't be too safe anymore.
If everyone thought the same, it would be a big ass boring world.
Especially now that we live in a world where AI plays a part of daily life.
Yeah.
I mean, you can never be too safe.
Yeah.
If I were to can you put a picture of Sebastian Rogers at a rest area? Who knows that AI couldn't make this photo?
Well, it's actually pretty scary what AI can do, to be honest with you. Like, seriously. Can use people's voices,
Anything that I ever say that's incorrect, it's because AI did it.
Yeah, of course.
That's not real. It's AI.
So, again, so tomorrow night, they'll be on Tony Mathis and Seth will be on with Nancy Grace. Now, as for Travis's question, I would say that he probably used the wrong term there. Now, if I recall something, Seth made a comment about his mother misspoke, I believe, when she said something about that it was whatever it was. What's the word again? What's the word? The polygraph. What's that word I'm looking for? Inconclusive.
Inconclusive.
Right. on there. Now, I think at the end of the day, the test was inconclusive because he fell asleep and was really tired. Now, do I care that Seth failed the polygraph test or not? Failed it inconclusive? No. Just because same with Katie and Christopher. Do I care anymore? No. Seth has an alibi for where he was. I don't think for one moment, Christopher and Katie both have said they passed it. Did they? Seth to me was just honest about everything. And I have, I know he's not perfect, but I'll tell you, nobody around here is perfect. Nobody in chat's perfect. Aspen, besides you, none of us, me and Charmaine, aren't perfect, and so, Seth is.
You're both pretty perfect.
Oh, I know.
I'm way less
I didn't
perfect.
want to.
I'm 3. Sunny's 2. Charmaine is always right.
Well, that's true. The Canadians typically have the edge, don't you think?
Right.
I mean,
Well, especially those mid coastal ones.
yeah, especially those ones. Anyways, but yeah. So for me, again, Seth has shown to me, I'm just judging by my own standards.
Well, you know what I want to know though? I would like to know, and again, if there's a third party involved, they might not have the answers to this, but if they don't have the answers, it's still valuable for them to answer it. Someone had to have purchased the clothing Sebastian is wearing in this picture. So if that shirt that Sebastian's wearing is something that's familiar to Katie,
yeah,
or Seth, I would like to know. If it's not, that's just as important, because it means that whoever he didn't know the value of money. We were told early on that he wouldn't have known what $20 would buy you, even if he had $20.
Yeah.
So I'm not assuming that Sebastian went into a TJ Maxx and bought himself a T-shirt. So I'd like to know where that T-shirt he's wearing came from. If it's one that's familiar to the families, I don't think that's harmful to the investigation to say.
Right.
Because in a lot of ways, I think it would confirm that that it is him, and that he had items with him that we didn't previously.
Okay. One sec. Yeah, husband, do you need me? No. Okay. What I want to go say is this right here. Kim says WSMV reported that nothing credible is to be found. That pick is Sebastian Rogers. Well, this is my thought on that, Kim, is that I seen that being said, but we literally just had News Nation with the actual father, and Tony talking about it. So I'm pretty sure that they would have found out that information if that was true. So maybe in the next few days, we might hear more about that.
Right.
But as for now, I'm going to take the fact if Seth didn't say anything about that and Tony didn't say anything about that today in today's News Nation.
Right. That could be media. That could just
be media saying,
right.
You know what, it's been whatever days, nothing has come of it so far, and just kind of wording it that way. Right. So I'm going to take that with a grain of salt, considering we literally just listened to Seth.
Delphi Police and ISP also said there was no threat to the community after the murders of Libby and Abby, and yet they went 5.5 years almost before anyone was arrested.
Mm-hmm.
So they made a prediction conclusively that there was no threat to the community in Delphi or the surrounding areas, when they had no idea whether or not that was true. We know that now. But they made that claim, and they said it conclusively, and I think they probably put a lot of people's fears at ease with that statement.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean it was ever true.
Right. Yeah. There's, just so you know, there's oh, that's so strange. There was more. Okay, so there's 82 on Twitter watching. Hello, Twitter. And there's 50, and that's a crime and shame. You guys don't forget, please, to hit that like. Again, I'm not asking you to do it for the channel. We're just asking for Sebastian's sake. Keep awareness to the case. That's the whole point. I could be sitting here popping off to a different story easily, but it's one of those things. It's always about morals and principles. And for me, I know that I've been sick lately and been working and stuff like that, but you know, Sebastian's case means a lot to us.
Absolutely.
To cover it. And you know, my own personal commitment is that I want to keep Sebastian's story out there. And just so you know, one of those cases is like, I saw Sebastian's face. I would love to see a conclusion. I would love to hear
We will.
about, yeah, I know, you know, and I would really love to know soon. I think that something like, you know, regardless, I feel like something soon has to break in this picture here. Like,
Yeah.
why did they come out so fast, right? Aspen, so fast to debunk the flashlight video. They came out to debunk that, but yet they haven't come out to debunk
Was
this.
that really that fast though? I feel like that was like 2 or 3 weeks.
No, that flashlight video.
I felt like it was like 2 or 3 weeks after the.
No,
after
it was a few days.
Okay.
It was because it was making its way.
Quickly, Daisy said, if I had to go through my husband's wardrobe, I'm not sure I would know if a few items were missing. I agree 100%. So if I had to go through my own wardrobe, I don't think I could tell you whether things were missing. But if I saw a picture of someone wearing a shirt that I had bought,
yeah,
I would recognize that I had bought a shirt that looked like that. And so knowing that Sebastian did not buy a shirt himself, I would assume either Katie or Seth would recognize the t-shirt that's on Sebastian in the picture.
Right.
Even if they didn't recognize that it had been missing, I think once they saw this picture, they would recognize that that is a shirt Sebastian had.
Yeah. And we don't know if this lady has anything to do with this picture or not, by the way.
Right.
So there's a couple things that are said, just a reminder. There's nobody that's come forward to say, look, that's my kid. You know, that's not Sebastian, that's my kid. There's
Right. And
nobody
who's the
that's
kid
come forward.
behind him?
Pardon?
And who's the kid behind him?
Right, exactly. And as far as we know, the woman hasn't come forward to say who she is. Not to us, maybe to TBI, or sorry, Sumner County or TBI, but nothing that we know of on the internet so far. So we're just gonna wait and see what happens. As always, I mean, it's 69 days. You guys know that's my favorite number.
I mean, that woman could simply be completely unrelated, walking back to her vehicle as Sebastian is walking forward. I mean, I've crossed paths with a million people at rest areas. And, you know, doesn't mean that I knew them. But if you took a picture right at the right moment, when they're walking and you're walking, it's going to look connected.
Well, that, see, you know, they do have CCTV.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of time. So maybe they are looking, like, they obviously are looking into it. It doesn't just happen overnight, obviously. And again, they didn't show Seth the video. Why not? If it had nothing to do, if it didn't have anything to do, it wouldn't make a difference then.
Right, because maybe there are individuals. Maybe there are individuals in that video that law enforcement need to identify, follow up on, investigate. There could be a million reasons. You know, there could be a vehicle that they see. You know, it could be a million things. And again, law enforcement never owes the public anything when it comes to investigating a case.
We're just going to keep talking about Sebastian, keep bringing awareness to it again. So please hit that like and share button. You know, again, it's not a national case, by the way, like meaning it's not like national, like Delphi or Idaho and stuff like that.
Could these cases stop coming into North Carolina though? Because I'm like,
I know, right?
They're just like tempting me to like want to like go boots on the ground. I think Sonny's causing all of this. Here, the pastor's wife.
Canadian vibes.
Pastor's wife, Carolina.
Right.
Sebastian, Carolina.
It's me and Charmaine. We're just like, you know, like using our ESP shit and sending it down your way.
Yeah.
Right. Because we want you to do boots on the ground, Aspen.
And I'm like, sorry, busy.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, Sebastian does curl his hands a lot if you look at a lot of his pictures, and his
feet. the angle of his feet is a similar position that he holds his feet in other
in the other picture. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what comes of it. Okay, guys.
I think this was the last case we were going to cover tonight. So we'll see y'all later. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, is it Delphi time?
Good night.
Yeah. Okay. Let's. So you guys, green hearts always for Sebastian. Again, prayers to anyone for the missing and the murdered, regardless. And that. But I really wish that a good conclusion will come out of the Sebastian Rogers case, and I pray that perhaps this is him. And he doesn't look like he's in any danger in this picture here, if it is him. So I really, truly do hope that this case can come to a conclusion soon and we get some answers.
That would be the best possible outcome.
Yeah.
Sebastian left on his own, and that sadly, for whatever reason he did that he is safe and that he'll be found, and that whatever resolution to the story needs to happen will happen. Because, you know, like when I first saw this picture, was that a week ago, 2 weeks ago? I can't even remember now. It was the first time I had actual hope in Sebastian's case. And so if that's Sebastian, I have more hope today than I had 60 some days ago when he went missing, almost 70.
Yeah.
And I think Travis said that he was going to take my place on panel to talk about Delphi. So good night, everyone. Bye.
Good, whatever. Okay, let me play the quick video for Delphi. I totally need to go to the washroom. Where is
Go
it?
while it's playing. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Actually, you know what? Before we get into Delphi, there was something that I came across that I wanted to play first. And I thought, and it's 5 minutes and 20. So before we get into Delphi, consider this
our main sex tape.
Yeah. Oh, hey. I thought we were going to keep that on the down low.
We were until the news posted it.
I'm still here. I'm just eating pretzels. So
yeah, you eat those pretzels. So I'm just going to
play
play
the video starts.
Okay. Security camera footage of a man resembling David seen in Madrid purchasing spray paint on February 2nd. We've never heard that before. Later that night, a man resembling David seen in a helmet spray painting and a security camera, and then leaving the building with a suitcase at 10:30 p.m. We never heard that before. His WhatsApp history. David asked a woman to translate a message into, quote, perfect Colombian. We never heard that before. The same message was sent from Anna's phone after she disappeared. Same message. Never heard that before. Car rental. David rented a car in Serbia from January 29 to March 15. Returned it with different plates, newly tinted windows, and additional miles. Guess how many? 4,770. Guess where that could take you? Serbia, Madrid, and back. Original plates reported stolen where? Anna Street in Madrid. Insurance impersonation. March 4, a woman pretending to be Anna calls and cancels 3 car insurance policies. April 24, a woman tells cops David instructed her to impersonate Anna. This is damning if demonstrable. I'll say it again. This is damning if demonstrable, meaning if they can show it as well as I just read it, he's got problems. News Nation law and justice contributor, former FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer, Florida State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg. Dave, I got to tell you, you told me, well, I don't know what they're going to be able to do here. Man, they got a lot more than I ever even imagined.
This is really good police work, Chris, and this is why it took so long. They were building a case. Without a body, they needed to come up with as much circumstantial evidence as possible, and they've got a mountain of it. I mean, I bet you Jennifer has worked on cases where you have a lot less than this. We have prosecuted murder cases with less circumstantial evidence than this. This is a really good one. Kudos to law enforcement. They really did come up with the goods.
All right. So now let me combat you guys a little bit. First of all, Coffin-Daffer, thank you very much for staying on this. Thank you for keeping it alive online. This was not a popular case for people where, you know, the pack chased it. So thank you. He's going to say, wasn't me, Jennifer. He's going to say, wasn't me. May look like me. It's not me. What makes him unable to get out of this in your estimation?
He's left way too many breadcrumbs that connect him to it. First of all, those conversations with the translator, you know, and then the translator goes to her mother and says, hey, listen, this is a guy I'm kind of seeing from online, gives him the name, and she looks up, and sure enough, on Google search, the name, wait a minute, his wife's missing. And by the way, what you translated, I just saw in a media post. So that connects him. He's in a lot of trouble. All those words that you see there on your screen, he's responsible for.
No body, Dave. No body. How do you make a case when you have no body if he doesn't tell you anything?
It happens all the time, Chris. We have prosecuted many cases without a body. You just have to have enough circumstantial evidence. And here, I think you do. Plus, you really do need to show a jury a strong motive, because juries want to know the why. Even though it's not an element of the crime, you don't have to prove it as a prosecutor. But jurors, especially with a lack of a body, want to know why. Why would he do this? Well, this is an easy why, and that is financial, a marriage gone bad. Everyone can understand that. And because you've got an easy motive to understand, an amount of circumstantial evidence, although it would be nice to have a body, you don't need it to get a conviction for murder. And I think that charge is forthcoming.
What do you think about that, Jennifer?
I totally agree. The circumstantial evidence here is great. And I always say circumstantial evidence is just as strong, if not stronger, than direct evidence. You look outside and it didn't snow, or you look outside and it's green, and the next day you look outside and there's snow, it snowed. And that is this kind of case. Also, remember, the employee is the one that is linked to that insurance call about canceling 3 insurance policies. That was one of his employees, another direct connect to him.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can
listen.
Oh, 1 second here. Okay, so this actually was, you know, this case was actually out there a while ago, and I remember watching it. I didn't know in-depthly about it, but it was a case that didn't really make, you know, like the circuit like some other cases had. Basically, the wife, they were having like marital problems or whatever, and she had left him and she moved over, I think it was to Spain or something like that. And basically there was this this person with a helmet on and whatever that the night before had spray painted black on the cameras. I think it was the night before, or that night that she had disappeared. And so it was one of those things where it's like, you know, he's projecting like he's over here, you know, somewhere else, and she suddenly, you know, disappears. And like I said, somebody had come in with a helmet on, spray painting the black. So, right, there's no body to be found. And so finally, you know, charges are being brought up against him, because it's kind of like what will probably, well, remember with Barry Morphew's case, they didn't have a body, so it was really hard. But now that they have Suzanne's body and the autopsy report came back, but in this case, again, sometimes that circumstantial evidence, you know, comes to bite them in the ass, because there's enough of it to show that he's the one that had taken, you know, his wife's life. So it was one of these cases that I heard about, and I was, like I said, it just didn't seem to catch, you know, the sleuths and stuff like that. So when I seen it, I was like, oh, like I hadn't watched this, so I just wanted to see what the update was on it. And so anyways, so yeah, Anna and David, all you have to do is Google that, read the story, kind of exactly, you know, all that happened there. It was 1 second here. I think it was right here. Okay. What is it with these things? Okay. So Anna Marie, I'm not even going to pronounce that last name. it's all in Spanish on there. But anyways, I'll drop the link for it here if anyone does want to watch it, because it was a very interesting case. One of those ones that I'm amazed that it didn't pick up as well as it did. But anyways, basically, the husband is, I guess, now being charged with, because there's like enough circumstantial evidence to prove that, he had everything to do with his wife's disappearance, although there's no body. So anyways, okay, Delphi time. So let's quickly play this little minute clip here.
Really quickly. Travis said, what needs to happen is Coffin-Daffer needs to pick up Sebastian's case. Coffin-Daffer has followed Sebastian's case, so yeah. So she's been all over it on Twitter, and I've actually really enjoyed her coverage. So
I do. Yeah. Yeah. And he's been calling it. And actually SF Investigates, just so you know, he actually hadn't been following the Sebastian Rogers case. He was following the Riley Strain case. And it wasn't actually that long ago that he actually started paying attention to the Sebastian Rogers case. And then I seen him reporting on it. Like, I would say in the last maybe 2 to 3 weeks is when he kind of came into the Sebastian. He had been hearing about it, but he didn't know much about it. Because I remember he was tweeting out some things, and he asked me about the school, like which school did Sebastian go to. So I just happened to come in as I was on my iPad, so I answered him back right away. And he's like, "Thank you," and that's kind of, I remember when he actually picked up on the case for Sebastian, and then kind of once he grabs hold of something, he grabs hold of it, and so yeah. And Jennifer Coffindaffer, has been doing it. If you guys aren't on Twitter, again, you maybe wouldn't know that, but because I'm on Twitter, and I see the updates that Jennifer does and stuff like that, or SF Investigates and the different people.
Jennifer's grown on me a little bit.
I like Jennifer.
But I do want to say really quickly, thank you, Sharon. I agree. Can we get a few more thumbs up?
Yeah, how many do we have? Let's see. Well, a lot of people are watching us from Twitter. There's only 55 in the actual YouTube chat. There's only 43 likes. Come on, y'all, you Twitter people. Come over from Twitter.
I'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay. So, we'll quickly play this. Oh, did he just bail on purpose, Charmaine?
He did, and I've decided I don't want to talk Delphi if Aspen doesn't turn his camera on.
Right? What is it with him hiding behind his camera a lot lately?
I don't know, but I'm putting my foot down right here, right now.
Do you notice that? I don't want to look at his avatar.
Yeah, it would be different if his avatar looked like him, but it doesn't.
Have we actually seen him on camera yet tonight?
No, he said he was gonna just a minute, and then he never did. So
yeah, I know.
I'm calling you out.
I'm calling you out. I know, because he's getting a little bit used to hiding behind that camera. And I personally, like, besides going off for a few minutes, I'm not a fan of creators hiding behind an avatar and talking myself. Now,
I'm eating pretzels. That's why I turn my camera off, because it's food.
But that's acceptable. But there's nothing worse to me when I'm watching this avatar going rah, 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 because I feel like I'm not interacting properly. People come, and I feel like that they want to see the people. They don't want to look at some avatar, wah, 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 type of thing. So I personally like the fact that people want to engage with a person. They want to see the person, not, do you guys think the same way? Is it bugs you guys when people are living behind
words, around 1,000 people watching from Twitter, I will turn my camera off, but
yeah, of course, right? Because Charmaine, she does not want to be famous. Yeah. Yes, we love you, Abby and Libby. Absolutely. Justice for Abby and Libby, always, guys. Okay, so we'll wait for little Weasel. We'll play this video out, and then we're going to call him back out on it as soon as he comes back. Watch him be like, oh, the live's over. Oh, thanks for, just an honor being here.
That's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah. Okay. So, in the words of Pretty Woman, go on, my favorite movie, like my husband. Yeah. I say when, I say where, I say how much. He's such a little bitch, isn't he? Such a bitch. Right?
Wow.
I think he's a bigger narcissist than Christopher Proudfoot. Narc. Mark. Okay, let me play this, you guys. It's a minute and 37
Murder's
seconds.
case is back in the courtroom tomorrow for another hearing.
This comes just days before the start of Richard Allen's jury trial. Our Gina Galeros joins us here in studio with a preview of what's supposed to happen this week. Gina, good morning.
Good morning to you. Yes, of course, this is a high-profile case. A special judge in this case scheduled a new hearing for tomorrow to talk about what evidence and information jurors will be allowed to hear during this trial. Last week, the judge ruled Allen's defense attorneys were not in contempt of court. She did say they were, quote, sloppy, negligent, and incompetent in how they handled discovery materials, but not in contempt. The judge says the defense did not violate a gag order by issuing a press release about a year and a half ago, although she says she's concerned about what they wrote. So now she is turning them over to state regulators to decide if the defense violated any rules or ethical guidelines. This all comes more than 7 years after the deaths of Abby Williams and Libby German near the Monon High Bridge Trail in Delphi. Yesterday, Libby's sister Kelsey shared this photo of the Carroll County Courthouse on social media. That is where Richard Allen, the man charged in the girls' deaths, is set to go on trial. All of this leading up to next week. So jury selection starts a week from today, May 13th, with opening statements set for Friday, May 17th. Now, as for tomorrow, that is in Fort Wayne. Our Samantha Johnson will be there and bring you the very latest before the trial tomorrow here on Sunrise.
All right. So it seems like getting right down to the deadline of this trial to take care of things. Thanks.
Getting right down to the deadline. Right down to the deadline. Right, Aspen Connor? Turn your camera on.
Is he back? He's probably not back.
Back. Yeah, no, he purposely said, I'll be right back on purpose. He's there. He's there. Yeah. Go ahead, Aspen. What do you think? Go ahead, Aspen. You
No
can't say
response. Leave a response.
Okay, go ahead, Charmaine. I mean,
okay.
well, let's
I
get a
don't know what to
Canadian.
think.
Let's get a Canadian. Well, shh. Just pretend like you know something. So let me say this. So I didn't know only until hearing it, because you guys know I haven't overly been paying attention to any of the paperwork whatsoever. So I see that Judge Gall deemed that they weren't in contempt of court, and something about sending it off to somebody to see if they broke any rules or something like that.
I think ethical.
Yeah, the ethical
or Travis
whatever.
would know. And I've been trying to catch up. Yes, I read them. I read the filings. I'm all caught up, but wrapping my head around them is something completely different at this point. Teresa does a really good job of dissecting them, and Tom does an excellent job of organizing, the important points. Myself, for her finding of they weren't in contempt, that's good. I don't think that she needed to point out that she thought she was they were negligent and whatever else she said. That was not necessary. I don't know if it is or not legally, but that's basically what I think about that, or that finding. That
Look at him. Look at the little shit. He's trying to pretend like he's like, being strong, and
that's fine. You know what? The less we need to hear, or the less he's here, the less we need to hear about.
Yeah, I'm not
the former new defense, or however he puts it. I don't even know. Oh.
Aspen Connor, get your butt up here. I know you're there. We're just gonna sit here in silence, you guys.
Who has a full beard? What did I miss?
You're talking about Fugly. Talking about.
Oh.
Yeah, right. Got to look at that picture, don't we? This whole looks like he's a little miniature elf. Huh. Like a gnome. Looks like kind of like a gnome.
I don't know. I don't know what to think, you guys. I don't know what to think. I cannot wait for Aspen to be there and to tell us what goes on in that courtroom. Because I want to hear the evidence. I want to hear what else Nick has, because he has to have something more.
Yeah.
I think. But at the same time, and I would be really curious to see what Travis thinks, and I wish I had a chance to listen to Bob or anybody else, but none of us considered the fact that Judge Gull has to determine whether or not they can even use this third-party defense, and I don't think anybody on YouTube or anywhere else since September 18th of 2023 even considered that as a possibility. So we've been dissecting this memo since then, and every word and name in that document since then, possibly for nothing. She probably, in my opinion, and albeit uninformed opinion, she's not going to allow a single bit of it. So where do they go from here?
Oh, it's funny, Charmaine. Charmaine, funny that you said that, because if you'd watched the video, I think it's the last video I posted.
Wait, 1 sec. Let me just mute his ass. Do you have a camera that works, Aspen Connor? Do you? Would you like to show your face to us in the world? Go ahead. Keep talking now. Whoops, hold on. I muted you now. Go ahead, Aspen Connor.
Charmaine, I think if you'd watched the last video that I posted on my channel, which was in September of 2023, I talked about the Franks memorandum and how I didn't feel like they would be allowed to bring these names into court. And here we are, 9 months later, and we're dealing with that exact issue, that those names are not going to be potentially allowed in court. With no law degree to my name.
I'm just going to point out, like what everybody knows, is I try my best to stay away from the completely biased coverage. So I may or may not have watched your video.
Oh, there was nothing biased about that coverage. Just trust me.
I'm just kidding. I probably just forgot, but the fact that so many, like every single Delphi community YouTube channel has dissected every syllable of that document.
I can't understand what Aspen's saying without his camera off.
Me either. It's really distracting. And
I know why. Do you have a big zit you're trying to cover up? Do you have a big herpy on your face or something? Do you have a bad hair day?
No, but no. I mean, before any leaks or anything like that, I posted a video, and of course, I'm not saying that go watch it or anything, but I said in it, I thought that the defense team was going to get thrown off the case, and that I didn't think that the names that were in that memo were going to be allowed to be brought into court. We've seen all of those things play out now. And, I think that Richard Allen's defense team should be allowed to present a defense, but should they be allowed to waste the jury's time? And should they be allowed to waste the court's time? It depends on the validity of the defense they're bringing forth. That's something that's going to be talked about tomorrow in their hearing.
Right.
I don't know the answer to that, and I'm not saying that their case is invalid. I'm not saying that it is valid. I'm just saying that I immediately got red flags when they started naming people in that Franks memorandum that had not been brought up on any charges. Because there's one thing to have a third-party defense. There's another to make baseless allegations against individuals that don't play a role in the crime. So I'll be very interested to see the outcome of tomorrow's hearing.
Whether anybody agrees or not, there was an investigation on these people, whether they should have been named or not, whatever, but that deserves to be heard in court. And I think that Judge Gull has already made up her mind about every bit of it.
Well,
and I would just like to say that, like, I know Travis talks a lot about, and it seems like he is favorable to the defense, but one of the things that I appreciate most about Travis's input is that he doesn't know, like he said, he doesn't know the facts of the case or the background. He's looking at the documents and kind of interpreting them for us. And we've all seen it. We've all seen it play out all the way up to the Supreme Court. It wasn't sitting right with actual lawyers. So think what you might, biased or not, he's dissecting these documents for us, and I personally appreciate the knowledge.
Same.
Yeah.
Right. 'Cause, I mean, Travis and I have disagreed on a lot of things, you know, but I have always maintained respect for Travis, and I still do. And not only do I maintain respect for Travis, I like Travis. He's even occasionally funny.
Occasionally, and he does like eggnog.
Right. Ginger, I'm not going tomorrow. I'm not in Indiana.
And that's my point, Jenny. Who gets to decide if the claims are valid? That's Judge Gull. And I personally think that she's already seen enough. She's read the memo. She's gone through all of this stuff. I think that she's already made up her mind. So tomorrow, I think, is just a hearing to appease the record, really.
Let me ask you a question. So Sunny and Charmaine, I'll turn my camera on once you answer this question.
Oh my God, you little bossy bitch. Okay, go ahead. Ask it.
So what things do you want to see come out of tomorrow's hearing? I mean, we know what they're scheduled to talk about. We know what the issues at hand are. But what do you want to see come out? Like, what answers do you want out of tomorrow's hearing?
I personally, myself, I think it's pointless, and I think we just need to get through the hearing just to get to trial. Period. And I'm worried about what the defense is going to do when the third party defense is not allowed to be brought in. I don't know what happens at that point, but as for the entire goal of tomorrow, I think is moot myself.
I concur with Charmaine.
That does not deserve my camera to come on, but
No, do it for Charmaine. Shit. See, I told you guys a Loch Ness monster exists.
You're beautiful. Why do you keep your camera off?
You know, so I mean, yeah, I don't know what, but I want to know. So, I mean, maybe it matters because, you know, I might have a road trip planned next week, but, you know, I feel like after tomorrow we're going to have a definitive, conclusive answer on whether or not we can expect jury deliberations to start on Monday. I think we're going to have a lot more answers tomorrow night than we do tonight.
You mean jury selection?
Or I said deliberations tonight. Sorry, I meant selection. And you know, I honestly, I still feel, I mean, a lot of people are trying to freak me out by texting me and being like, "Oh, I know you've scheduled 3 weeks off your life to leave and rent a car and go stay somewhere, blah blah blah."
Yeah.
I don't necessarily feel like
you feel it's going to go through.
I feel like the case is still going to start. I do feel like the trial is still going to start. Can I guarantee it's going to end on May 31st? No. That'll be an interesting change of plans for me for June if it doesn't, because, you know, like in that latest defense filing about, like, you know, we think 34 days is a more appropriate amount of time for a trial. Like, but I don't have 34 days.
Yeah, you guys need to get this done by the 31st.
And the last thing you know, it's not, I'm being light. It's not about me, but, you know, the last thing I would do is go to Indiana and then stay for 3 weeks and then be like, "Oh, I have to leave."
Yeah. So that's where people, we'll all support you and we'll all like feed you on a GoFundMe or your Cash App thing.
Well, it's not even about money. It's about like just like getting back to my actual.
Shh! Don't even talk like you gotta go like. Don't. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to put your real life to the side and just skip on over there to Delphi. And however long it takes, Adam, boots on the ground. JLR would do it, so I expect the same out of you.
Yeah, but he would leave after 2 days and go to another case.
Around the area, probably. Yeah. Anyways, we'll see what happens tomorrow, I suppose, eh?
Right.
I mean, that's really all we can do is see what happens tomorrow and yellow and,
So,
Go ahead.
but I mean, looking at I mean, I can't be the only one that like saw the picture of Richard Allen today, and I was like, oh, well, there he looks quite a bit different. And I doubt, of course, that he's going to walk into the court if opening statements do take place on the 17th next week. I doubt he'll walk into court with the beard he has in this picture. But I mean, we've seen several different variations now of Richard Allen, and I feel like they all kind of point in the direction of that this is an individual that has the ability to look different to people depending on his appearance that day. I mean, he looks different ages in every picture.
I know. Definitely looks healthier.
Like, I had multiple people send me messages today saying, "That's not Richard Allen, is it?" That
because
they just. I mean, first of all, it's the first time we've seen his pupils small. Because if you look at his other mugshots, this is the smallest his pupils have ever looked. So there's actually color in his eyes this time.
Remember when somebody cropped him looking like this before? Like, remember when somebody did an AI kind of picture of him and added some facial hair and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that one was a phony? So when I first seen, only because the news had put this out, so that, like that was his new picture, then I actually believed it this time. I was like, okay, it's posted everywhere. I believe it. And trust me, it's... Go ahead.
See, I'm going to get in trouble.
Why?
Travis.
Travis
says, says Gull is substandard. Sorry, she's not highly regarded. She's been reversed 8 times, 3 times state confessed error. She's certainly not ISC material. But you know what, Travis? Literally within the past 6 months, she was nominated and made the head of an extinguished group of judges. So I think it's unfair to say she's not highly regarded, because there have been multiple times that now she's been held up to regard by her peers, and she's been put into a position of leadership. You don't have to agree with her on everything, but I think it's unfair to say she's not highly regarded.
Well, I'm not going to highly regard her if there's no freaking cameras allowed, or I'm not going to highly regard
her. I'm just stating, from, if I go off credentials alone, I don't think it's fair to say she's not highly regarded.
She's a seated judge and she's worked her way into that position. However, she has made some clear mistakes that have been
but she also sits in a position where she's been held to in a higher regard than other judges in the same position she was in.
Right, before this stuff was happening.
No, even after.
Well, since there's been more, definitely. But, and I mean, honestly, because of all the crap, this case isn't going to be over with a verdict. It's going to be appealed, and it's probably going to go to a new trial. Probably. Because of stuff. And time will tell. We will see.
And I want to know what this crap is by Anne. And first, it's so wrong that the mean girls have been bullying you tonight. I think you meant mean girl.
What?
Yeah. Couldn't be me, Shirley. Innocent. And
something Charmaine said. Thank you, Anne. Something Charmaine said. So I've been thinking a lot about this, and of course, it's presumptuous to even talk about something post conviction, because Richard Allen has not been convicted. Richard Allen is still constitutionally an innocent individual, and he deserves that right. I want him to have a fair trial. I've said that all along. I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not pro prosecution. I'm not pro anything. I'm pro Libby and Abby. But when it comes to Richard Allen, I have made any assumption or any opinion I've had based on the factual findings that have come out in this case, and not even the ones I've heard privately, the ones that have come out in court documents. I want Richard Allen to have a fair trial. My heart breaks for the families of Libby and Abby first and foremost. I also sympathize, though, with the family of Richard Allen. And if Richard Allen is innocent, my heart breaks for what he's gone through. I'm not ready yet to, though, be like he's 100% innocent, because I feel like there are things that we have not heard that are going to come out in trial, like they do every trial.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the state has a very, very strong case against Richard Allen. I see it in the confidence that the way that the prosecution filings are written, and it's not something I see in the defense filings. The defense filings are all written in a way to distract and
Yeah, I agree.
cherry pick details and facts to fit a narrative that I do not see the prosecution doing. And that's not because I think the prosecution is better or worse. It's just what I see when I read these documents. So I expect when the trial comes that we're going to see a lot of evidence and facts come out that make this a little bit more clear-cut. And if there's a conviction, yeah, statistically, I mean, even in much weaker cases, there's always an appeal anymore.
It's automatic.
Still only 10 to 15% of them actually get granted. But something that I look for in this case, if there's a conviction, which again, that's a long way away because it's up to the 12 jurors that are in the jury box. After they hear the evidence against Richard Allen, whether or not they think he's guilty. If they end up finding him guilty and there's a conviction, we don't yet know that Richard Allen is not resigned to his fate at that point. We don't know that Richard Allen will even ask for an appeal. He may want to spare
it's automatic, isn't it?
He may want to spare his family from the trauma of going through an appeal. He may go BTK style and live that lifestyle in prison. Again, that's all speculative.
BTK confessed.
So did Richard Allen. 30 times.
Stop it. Stop it.
I mean, the defense has never contested that, Charmaine. I mean,
I realize that, but we don't know the context.
I mean, I'm not being partisan.
Confessions.
No.
So you can't say one thing about this and then the same thing about the.
But I'm not, Charmaine. I'm not saying anything. The defense has never contested the confessions. They've never, they've said that he made false confessions. Based on the examples they gave, but they've never contested that he confessed. So I'm not saying that they're factual. I'm just saying that he's confessed. I'm going off of the court documents that we have access to.
Right, and I think we can all agree that there is more than enough to convict him, especially if they're not allowed to bring in a third-party defense, which raises reasonable doubt. Based on the evidence or the evidence that
I don't know what's in those confessions. I mean,
exactly. That's all I'm saying. We don't know.
Well, no, I didn't disagree with that. You said that BTK confessed, and I said so did Richard Allen. That's all I said. Until we know what he said in those confessions, we don't know.
When I say BTK confessed, I mean BTK stood up in a court of law and told the judge everything that he did, step by step,
Well,
as
no,
part of a plea bargain, which this is not going that direction.
it is not. I'm just saying. You said he confessed. I said so did Rich Down.
Yeah.
It'll come to fruition whether or not those confessions were accurate or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? I'm just waiting for all. It just sucks. I want to see the trial live.
So do I. But you know what? We don't know yet that there won't be a court camera.
No, we don't.
Don't give up hope.
Come on, friend, go.
Do I know something you don't know?
Yeah, do you? You're not gonna. Are you giving us that look that that little mischievous look? Perhaps the other suspects in the defense hasn't vetted. And Vroom says, my guess is we're not going to hear anything we don't know except for laying out the timeline from him and the whole day corroborated by a bunch of digital footprint data. Going to box RA in and only RA. Yes, and I think BTK enjoyed telling what he did. Of course, those type of people do. Right. Paula? Mm-hmm.
So let me ask really quickly.
Hey, Piggy.
So like to point to, like SP says, they can't do the third party defense with intent to confuse and mislead the jury. That's against the rules of evidence. So if there's conclusive evidence that has not been put in court filings, because we know you're not going to put things in court filings that don't look favorably to your case.
You answer Fig's question first.
I don't know who that is. What did Aunt Fran tell you at dinner? Oh, maybe you shouldn't skip next time and you'll find out. But no, if Brad Holder, Patrick Westphal, these individuals that have been named countless times now in these court documents by the defense have no part in this crime, and they can conclusively be ruled out. It doesn't mean that they haven't been ruled out. It doesn't mean that they don't have solid alibis. And if that's the case, their names have no business being brought up in this case. The same as Ron Logan, the same as Keegan Kline, the same as Cody Patty, the same as Derek German, the same as Mike Patty. I mean, there are allegations brought against so many people in this case that if law enforcement can conclusively rule these people out, they don't have any business having their names brought up in a court of law. I mean, we're seeing people now that, 7 years later are being affected all over again by this case. And they might be horrible people. Brad Holder, Patrick Westphal, they might be pieces of shit. Doesn't mean they had any involvement in these girls' murders. And yet they have hundreds of people or thousands of people saying their name on a daily basis thinking that they might have had an involvement, or Elvis Fields. And you know what? The only evidence that anyone has seen towards those names have been put forth in defense filings that could easily be cherry-picked information. I mean, anyone that ever saw a picture of Brad Holder in February of 2017 knows that is not Bridge Guy. He had a goatee halfway down his belly. And I don't care what you think facial hair Bridge Guy had. No one thinks he had a goatee that went halfway down his belly. And so people use mental gymnastics. They use whatever they have to fit a narrative into the way that they want to think or what they're being told to think. Doesn't make it true. I'm sorry. The same as like Ron Logan. Trust me, law enforcement looked into Ron Logan. They wanted Ron Logan to be the guy. They did everything they could to see if Ron Logan was the guy. He wasn't. They then did the same thing with Keegan Kline. He wasn't the guy.
That's
So
still
to
crazy.
me, the best way to bring this information out because of Todd Click and their investigation that they did, why not allow it? Like if it was properly vetted and it was proven not to be them, why aren't you going to allow it so you can disprove it? Because otherwise there's always going to be that question out there.
No, because if the investigation disproved it, it has no reason. It's a
But according to
disrespect.
Todd Click, it wasn't. They never
Todd Click
gave
is
him
one
an
of 200.
X-ray.
Todd Click is one of 240 investigators that played a part in the early days of the investigation, that looked into things and followed up on leads. He didn't get his way. I'm sorry. And I think that when it comes down to it in court, I think we're going to find out that law enforcement investigated the Odenism thing more than we actually know. But at the end of the day, all of the investigators that were assigned to this case were assigned to different aspects of this case. Todd Click was one person that was investigated to a specific lead in this case. He thought there should be more effort put into the lead he had. He didn't have access to anything after Ferenczi's passing because that's kind of where the investigation ended, he said. So he doesn't know. At the same time they were investigating all that, you have to remember, that's when they did the Keegan Klein search warrant. So there was a separate investigation going on February 25th when they did a search warrant of Keegan Klein's house. There was another investigation happening, except other than that, into Ron Logan. On March 6th, they did a search warrant on Ron Logan's house. They did the Bicycle Bridge Road search warrant on February 15th. So these were all separate investigations that were happening concurrently at the same time. And guess what? All of them were wrong. None of them.
So, but okay, then explain what Fig just said. Why wouldn't they, as being one of the many investigators that had this other lead, and he was so sure that there was more evidence on these individuals than there was on Rick Allen, why wouldn't they have just divulged the information? He was part of the investigation. They could have cleared it up for the man so he wasn't sending letters from his lawyer to the prosecutor or whatever he was doing. They
Because
could have.
was
If it was
seven.
going through, was it none of his business? Are they in the business of raising speculation?
No, we're talking
It
about
wasn't done.
we're talking about 26 terabytes of discovery information. Do you think that it was the first and foremost thing on investigators' mind once they
He went in for a meeting in person for a meeting. They could have discussed it then and there. It would have been done and over with if they had conclusive, like if they were able to say, no, this is what we have on this guy. And if it was more than what he thought in his investigation, he probably would have shut up and gone away instead of being called into hearings now.
And do we know and what has he said since then?
Well, we don't know.
Well, so we don't know that he hasn't.
You think that he wouldn't have said by now if he had heard? He wouldn't be on the stand trying to say, or his.
When was he on the stand trying to say something?
I don't know. You're the one that follows the case. I don't know.
Well, no, I'm curious. I mean, like, yes, he wrote the letter. I know that. I'm curious. So when did? So we don't know that he wasn't spoken to by investigators after the fact and made aware of things, even though there is a gag order and a that he's semi-retired, so he shouldn't be given that information, at this point. But if he's being deposed, yes. But we don't know that he wasn't informed of the further investigation into these individuals, and that he now understands why they were cleared. We've seen nothing about Todd Click's testimony or whatever towards this, other than the letter.
I guess I'm just maybe wrongly assuming that the defense is trying to get him to be, admissible or whatever, because he's going to back up or at least support their theory. If they had anything in all of those terabytes that said that, okay, well,
Well,
He did
we've also
things,
we've
and
also seen this defense team claim that that Betsy Blair and Sarah Carborough are two witnesses that are going to testify that the information they gave law enforcement is different than what is in the PCA against Richard Allen. Yet both of those witnesses still remain on the witness list for the state of Indiana against Richard Allen. And I'm not a lawyer, but I would assume it's not the smartest thing to put forth a witness that's going to testify to something against the thing you want them to say.
right.
So I'm presuming at this point that Sarah Carborough and Betsy Blair are going to testify for the state of Indiana, truthfully, but that truthful testimony is going to line up with what the state of Indiana is claiming against Richard Allen.
In the PCA for sure, absolutely. I agree completely, but
yet we've heard for months that that PCA is a lie, and and those two witnesses have been used as proof that the PCA is a lie.
right. And I've agreed with you. It's probably cherry picking. They probably said one thing and then remembered differently later, or vice versa. But they got it from somewhere.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think Adam is fighting so hard for him being guilty. He's just he perceives the documents a certain way, and I perceive them a different way, and we love to fight each other.
I'm not. If Richard Allen is not guilty, then he
let the evidence show it,
and he deserves. I mean, I can't even begin to describe what he will deserve. I'm going off of the evidence and information I'm seeing in court filings, and I in no way, from what we know publicly, can convict Richard Allen, but there's an absolute no way I can release him from custody.
And can we all agree that all of the evidence needs to be brought in?
Meaning what?
Like I said, inculpatory, exculpatory, all of it. Let the jury decide.
Well, like I said, to go back on the whole Patrick Westphal, Brad Holder, Ron Logan, Keegan Klein, I do think it's important to respect the jury's time. And if you're going to spend 2 weeks talking about people that have nothing to do with this case, I feel like that's a disrespect of 12 citizens of your state that have given up their time and their livelihood to be sequestered, to sit there and present a fair jury in this case. So don't disrespect them and don't waste their time with hyperbole.
I agree with you.
And
I totally agree with you. But if they've been vetted and cleared, then it's not going to take that long to get through that testimony. All evidence is all evidence. And then let the jury decide.
That's not typically what happens in cases.
No,
Lots of times evidence gets suppressed.
Because juries want to know more, because especially when there's something that, even if you were to be like, you know what, Brad Holder was absolutely, we have him on camera. He was, at work that day, and here's the camera footage, here's his time clock, whatever, blah blah blah, and then you have the defense go on for 2 weeks about Brad Holder being responsible for these murders. You're going to have jurors that are like, well, but I want to know more about Brad Holder. If he played no role in this and that was decided
by the same law enforcement agency that recorded over interviews and called off the dogs and blah, 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 blah. Like it should, I'm sorry. I just think that they should be able to hear it and consider it.
And let me say, I don't think any of those things should be excluded whatsoever. I think any mishap by law enforcement should absolutely be a part of this case. I think the jury should know that that law enforcement recorded over interviews. If whether or not they're told what interviews they were, that's not up to me. But I absolutely agree with you when it comes to I think that all investigative things that played a role in taking 5.5 years to make an arrest in this case should come into play in this case. You can present a third-party defense.
If we could say that there is enough evidence and, you know, my own personal gut feeling is that, and I apologize, chatters, but I think he did it. I do think he's the guy. There's my, you know, I'm no longer Switzerland, I guess. But if I thought for 1 second there was enough evidence to convict him and secure that conviction, I'd be all for it. But I just feel like there's been so many mistakes, even by Auntie Gull. I'm sorry, but I don't think this is going to be over for so long for the families. And yeah, it's a shame that it's gotten to the point that it's at now.
What can I ask you a question, Charmaine? And I'm not putting you on the spot. I mean this more in general because I hear a lot of people say that they've heard no evidence, or that they don't have enough evidence that they can use to make a decision. Like, what would it take evidence-wise? I'm curious with people.
I want to know. I want to hear both sides of the experts for that ballistic evidence, the tool mark impressions. I need to hear it because mass production, in my mind, means that more than one bullet casing could have those striation marks because it's a machine that builds the components of a gun. If it was man-made, then yeah, there could be individual striation, whatever, however that works. So I want to hear how a machine can pump out a unique bullet. I don't think that myself, but I'm not a gun person at all. So I need to hear both sides of that argument. I don't even put much stock into the eyewitnesses. I don't. I know a lot of people do, but I don't. And I want to hear. I cannot wait to hear about the motorcycle cover and the DNA in the shack. I can't wait to hear all that crap. But I want to hear the confessions. You know, the Carter, the shack, the tentacles, all the woo. I want to see all that. Whatever.
Is it in court?
Probably. I don't know. Was it? You tell me. But I want to hear the confessions. Those are the two things that I want, the ballistics and the confessions. That's what I need to hear. And hopefully they do have DNA, like we've all been hearing murmurs about. Hopefully they do.
What about the test results? Sorry, Sonny.
Pardon me?
What about what about the test results? I mean, there are a lot of unknown variables that we don't know about yet.
Results.
We've heard there's no connection to Richard Allen's phone and the crime scene or the victims. I've always said if Richard Allen was on a stock ticker, there should be a connection between the crime scene and his phone.
And right there is a perfect example of more than likely cherry picking in court filings.
Well, I was going to say, yeah.
But but we've had no mention of. We know there were several pieces removed from the vehicle. We've never heard another word on the testing from those pieces. I believe that could be significant.
Of course.
The whole shaft motor, that to me is a huge anomaly as well. The whole people that have been like, oh, he went back 3 or 4 times. We don't know any of that.
And I mean, so if he had, I'm just going to throw this out here because it boggles my mind. If he had a motorcycle at the time, but he only had the motorcycle cover 5.5 years later, who's to say that's the same motorcycle? That wouldn't even be evidence. You know what I mean? If he didn't have the motorcycle, He didn't have the tires for the motorcycle. They're looking for tracks, and they happen to see tracks on this motorcycle cover. I can't remember where I heard that, but it was just the other day when I was trying to rewind and go through stuff. I was like,
Jenny said, no, they said they've test fired the gun. You can't compare a fired bullet to a recycled bullet. And I agree. But
what, Adam?
well, I mean, we don't know. So we know that the bullet that was found 2 inches in the ground was unfired, or it had been misfired. We don't know. But we know there was also a bullet found in a keepsake box at the house. I don't know whether that's going to match anything or not. But we also don't know if they found any fired rounds that would then further connect the unspent round marks to a fired round mark to that specific gun. And I don't know anything. I'm just saying keep that in mind. Because if there was something dug up out of his backyard that perhaps was a fired round that somehow matched the striation marks of that unfired bullet, it could explain that.
Which we've heard.
Change once the bullet is fired, wouldn't the casing be? And I mean, I don't know, but I would think the casing would be.
Well, it depends then if it was.
Formed.
It would depend then if that bullet was found at the crime scene had been a misfire, or if it had been just ejected. But again, I don't know. Hopefully we'll know, and hopefully we'll start to know these answers in a week and a half. I don't know.
Well, what is an unspent bullet, Travis? That's what it is in court filings, is it not? Am I wrong?
Yeah,
unspent bullet.
Yeah.
That's not a misfire.
Right. It's an
unspent. An unspent round is technically still a misfire. Is still technically an unspent round because you don't have it ejected from the casing completely.
But it would have gone through the chamber, so that's not.
It would have specific striation marks on it.
It's been spent. It went through the. I'll have to Google it, but I don't know.
But even one that went through the chamber, it can be argued that it's had those, but who knows? Like I said, hopefully we're going to hear experts talk about it in a week and a half and not us.
Well, I was going to say, right, at the end of the day, we'll see what all the experts have to say and blah, blah, blah.
Like I said, it won't be us.
Yeah.
Does anybody really think that he intended on shooting that gun in the middle of the day?
No, I don't.
That's no different than driving a motorcycle up and down the crime scene. Like,
I don't think he would have planned on shooting that gun unless things got out of control. He felt like he had no other choice.
Cancer? Are you cancerous?
Which then could lead to some sort of a rage reaction once it didn't.
That's the exact same reaction I have when I talk about Delphi. It's just rage. I don't like it.
Don't feel it at all. Mm-mm. I was smelling roses when you were speaking there, to be honest. I didn't know it was control then. Yeah, I'm just waiting for it all to play out. So, I like whether it comes to whatever evidence is suppressed or not suppressed and whatever, at the end of the day, you always hope that regardless of Richard Allen or not, that just a fair trial happens. And now we all know that there are cases where stuff gets suppressed, that could have made a huge difference and stuff like that. At the end of the day, like I said, I'm no expert in anything. Well, certain things. But anyways, I'm just waiting for it all to play out. However it plays out, it's going to play out regardless, whether we think it's fair or not. I just want that Richard Allen has a fair trial. Do I feel like he's the person? I think that there's a lot to say so, but I'm just more curious about what all the evidence is and where my thoughts lie once it's all played out. It might change, it might not. I don't know.
Right.
I'm just waiting for it to play out. You just hope that it doesn't always happen. And to me, like I said, regardless, is going to play out the way it's going to play out. The evidence that they're going to allow or what they're not going to allow and blah, blah, blah is going to play out. So for me, I'm just kind of like, let it be how it goes.
And it's possible that, there could be, it's possible that people could come away from this trial that, presumably if Richard Allen is convicted, people could come away from this trial having heard all of the evidence and agreeing that Richard Allen is guilty, that he is the guy, but that they still feel like he had rights violated in the process of him going to trial.
And that's exactly where I'm at.
And that'll be could be a very interesting position to be in, because, it can be very difficult to, one, feel like that someone is guilty of something, but then two, feel like that some sort of rights were violated in the process. And now some people will just disregard it and not care anymore. But it is a very interesting moral and legal situation to put yourself in personally.
I don't think it's so much immoral, because if after evidence and everything else and you're convinced of his guilt and he is found guilty, but you still feel that the process was not followed properly and his rights were violated, unfortunately, as guilty as sin as he is, the system is going to have to take care of that and fix that.
Right. But I still think that's a very moral issue, because I think some people could hear that and go, yeah,
well,
but
he's guilty and throw away the key.
I think some people could hear that and be like, you know what? Yeah, but F him. And then other people are going to have to think, yeah, I know this guy is horrible, but I still need to stand up for what I believe in this regard. So I do find that to be an interesting position to be in.
I get that. Or some people like me will be like, well, it's unfortunate that because he was found guilty, we can't just, let it go. But now the process has to be followed. You have to go through.
Right. Well, and then it'll be interesting to see how many people, where that support lies and where that goes.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that 20 some years later we still have people fighting for the freedom of Scott Peterson. It's telling in itself, right?
Yeah.
But I just my main hope is that even if this trial ends up lasting longer than 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks, I do hope that with all of the preparations that have been put in place, I hope that the defense is ready. I think the prosecution is ready. I hope they are. I would hate to see all of the jury questionnaires that went out and all of the people that are scheduled to show up at the Allen County Courthouse next Monday morning. I would hate to see all of their time wasted. So I hope there's no last minute delay or continuance. I don't think there's any, let's see, if after the hearing tomorrow, there's any continuance or delay, I feel like it's going to be on the part of the defense. And I really hope that they, at this point, they filed for the speedy trial. I know that they think they did it for the safety of their client. And if that's the case, I hope that they are prepared and I hope they're ready to present the best defense they can for their client.
So do you think that once Judge Gall disallows the third party defense tomorrow, do you think it's still going to take 3 weeks to get through the trial? Do you think they're going to have enough to, I guess, to defend?
Well, there's nothing saying that they can't present a third party defense, even if they are not allowed to mention the actual names of the individuals that have potentially been falsely repeatedly named in court filings.
Oh, really? Because the way I read it, and like I said, I haven't.
They can say that a group of individuals, even if they can't say Odinist, or even if they can't say that, they can say, a group of individuals that might have perpetuated this crime.
And this is why I was trying to watch, because I must have misunderstood that, and that I thought that she could say, no, this is not admissible whatsoever. You're not bringing this theory into my courtroom.
The specific, without proof.
Without proof.
Connection to the
If
crime.
she decides that everything that they have isn't enough proof,
Right.
then they can't bring it in at all.
No, I will say the one individual that was named in this that I feel like they have the strongest case to argue against is Ron Logan. And the reason is because when they talk about how they have to make a connection to the crime specifically, not just the individuals, but the crime. I mean, they were found on his property. There's a FBI search warrant affidavit. I feel like, even though I don't think there's actual validity to that investigation, and I think they have proof of that, I think it would be very difficult to rule out Ron Logan when it comes to keeping his name out of it, because the victims were found on his property.
Mm-hmm.
And he lied.
Totally. I know. Why wouldn't they just go with that one? Like, if this whole Odinist thing is garbage?
Because they know he didn't do it.
I mean, I've been saying it all along. I think they truly believe. But then when I did my Q&A thing with Travis, I started to rethink. I thought they wouldn't be going this hard on something they didn't truly believe. And then there was something Travis had said when I was quizzing him up about defense lawyers and stuff that made me think, well, maybe they would. It's a viable defense. It's a reasonable theory. They have some supporting information. Whether they believe it or not, they would still kind of head down, ass up into it. So I don't know what to think anymore.
There's 100% a reason that the defense did not choose RL. RL would have been the easy. He's not even there to defend himself.
Yeah.
Because there's conclusive evidence that Ron Logan had nothing to do with the case. Just like there is with Keegan Klein.
I just, for me, all these, the whole oldness angle, it's just that I haven't seen myself any evidence to even attach any of them.
Because there isn't any.
Right, because there isn't any.
Brad Holder was at work that day. Patrick Westphal wasn't involved. Elvis Fields couldn't drive. He wasn't there.
And we're
going to see it all soon. We're going to see it all so clearly soon.
Right. So to me, it was kind of like the whole Odinist thing was, they were taking things and piecing them together. And that's why they called it a work of art, because they pieced it all together to try to connect it, but yet nothing actually really connected. They made things about the runes that weren't true. They called the whole memorandum, reading it was so full of flaws and definitely true. But to me, there was nothing that actually attached any of them
not a bit of it.
And that's where, for me, if that evidence, if they can't do that, then so be it. Because I personally, like I said, if there was something that would have attached them there, to have some proof, like what they have with Richard Allen and the girls that were on a path, like that stuff can all be shown, like who was there, to me. But I just, for the whole Odinist angle, there was a lot of talk, but there was nothing that actually put any of them at the crime scene or attached him to it. And Brad Holder, like I said, like you'd have to be the biggest idiot in the world to leave up all your Odinistic shit on your Facebook, right. But he had an alibi, so I don't know. Like, so for me,
and again,
I'll just see what happens.
And why come out and why would they come out and publicly discredit a law enforcement member like Todd Click that did feel this way, even if they knew that it wasn't true, And like I agree, Travis says, and this is just what I was saying. The Odinist angle is a deficient investigation, a completely different issue than the third party defendants. it's the same as the Reed, and that's exactly what I was saying.
This is the same as Reed right now. Court reserved ruling on third-party culprit.
I'm so interested to see how tomorrow plays out, because
Yeah.
tomorrow is going to dictate whether this trial starts next week. That to me is the main thing that we're going to find out tomorrow.
What do you guys all think?
Charmaine thinks that Charmaine, I think, believes that that's already been decided that no other names other than Richard Allen will be allowed to be discussed in court. And to me, it'll all depend on the arguments that are made about why those names should or shouldn't be mentioned in court. I'm not willing to give an opinion on that yet, because if the prosecution comes tomorrow and they give very clear reasons why those names shouldn't be used in court, who am I to say that, that's unfair? I'm waiting to hear what I hear tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess we'll just wait and see. Tomorrow's going to be here soon enough, people. It's already past 12 in Eastern Standard Time, so it kind of is tomorrow already. But I guess, what time is it at? 9?
Yeah. Oh, it's funny because one of my friends is going. They've got their alarm set for 4:30. I'm like, oh, they're going to be up in 3.5 hours.
So Frank Meister is going. Do you know of anyone else that's going?
I've got a couple of friends going.
Yeah.
But again, no one's going to have it's going to be a full day hearing. So there will be very little information coming out in between.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I'll be at work anyway. So if you hear something, just put it in our chat. See what's up on that. Okay. I need to get going, guys. It's almost 10 o'clock.
Charmaine, are you mad at me?
Yes, she is.
Not at all.
Yes, she is.
Oh, did you hear how fast she answered? Did you hear that? Not at all. Not at all.
Oh, it's the polite.
I'm not mad. I get so frustrated with any Delphi talk. I don't like doing it. I don't like doing it. Every time I don't like doing it. I get frustrated and then I get confused and I hate it.
Well, you know what?
Make me do it. So
let's see what tomorrow brings, Charmaine? We'll see what tomorrow brings. You might not like it, but we'll
it's not. That's it. I mean, I'm interested. I'm interested, and I want the facts, and I want the truth, and I'm sick and tired of hearing the speculation. I want the trial. I'm done with it. Delphi fatigue has set in.
We haven't. Charmaine, we haven't done a live about it in like a month. So
I know, but I've still been watching nonstop.
Get it together, girl.
Teresa and Tom.
Sounds like a you problem.
It is a total me problem, and you guys.
I'm kidding.
Again.
I've never even heard of those channels, but they sound amazing.
I'm just one of those people that I'm at that point where I got so sick and tired of all the freaking paperwork. Honestly, that some of it is interesting and a lot of it's not. But yet, I get it for the people that are like the legal people or people that like that stuff. I just happen not to be one of those ones. It bores me. A lot of it, I didn't even ever fully read the memorandum. I got bored after freaking 30-something pages.
So I turned on earlier today. I turned on News Nation.
Did you?
And do you know who was on there, Charmaine?
Winnie.
Who's your second favorite greaseball sex symbol?
Yeah.
Jason Momoa.
Okay. The lawyer was on talking about the Karen Reed case.
Oh, Mr. Druid.
He was just so full. He was blah, 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 and she had to cut him off to go into some White House briefing or something. And he's like, no, you're good. You're good. Giving her the option. But I was like, I thought about Charmaine immediately because I was like, oh, she would be so excited. And they were using his real name, which is something I don't know.
Dragos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of his, to be honest.
I don't listen to him. I have him on mute and I just watch him. So Travis, I have to talk to Sunny about the timing. I just got back from Lethbridge late last night and I have to work tomorrow. But I will talk to Sunny and I will.
Oh yeah, but the West Memphis.
I will email you.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So when are we doing another live? I've got a
Probably
very
tomorrow.
busy week, in case anyone doesn't know.
Well, what's your very busy week?
Well, I mean, I've got a lot of stuff to get ready for.
I know. Well, if it happens, you got to wait till tomorrow.
He has to go shopping for new Delphi clothes.
Yeah.
No, I'm not buying any Delphi clothes.
You need to get a GoPro for when you go down the hill and across the creek.
I have to get what?
You got to get a GoPro.
No, I'm not going to have a GoPro. You're going to have to deal with my iPhone.
Anyway.
Although I did get a message. Well, never mind.
Go ahead.
I did get an offer from someone if they wanted me if they wanted me to provide, or if they wanted them to provide me with aerial footage while I did a live on the bridge at some point, that they would be willing to.
Oh, okay. Talking about from a drone?
I'm not sure. I assume it wasn't American Airlines.
I would assume it was a drone. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I assume we're going to do one tomorrow night, eh?
Yeah, sure. I'm available.
Are you sure? Are you sure? You got time for me and Charmaine?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Charmaine, are we going to turn her camera on?
Charmaine, hold on. She's still eating her pretzels, sitting there going, fucking Delphi.
I'm starving. I can't wait to eat.
I'm actually sidetracked now because I started putting together this whole West Memphis 3 thing, and then I stopped short, so now I have to remember where I was.
Jenny says, I want to donate to Aspen's trip. Where can I send that alpaca?
Alpaca?
Yeah.
Have either one of you two ever heard of the West Memphis 3 case?
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I think Aspen would be a lovely guest host on that so that I don't have to navigate.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not an expert on it.
No, I've got the stuff. Like, I'll have the stuff.
Okay, so hey, Aspen, then hey, yeah, that's a good idea, Charmaine. Then we don't get to change.
So Jenny, I don't normally do this, but wait, how do I even find that stuff? Wait, like my PayPal or my.
Well, your PayPal is different, I think. Didn't you create a different one or something?
Well, on my channel, if you go to my channel and you hit the description, it has my Venmo, my Cash App, and my PayPal. But
I haven't even been to your channel in such a long time.
Me either.
I was there today.
Aspen Connor.
But don't feel like you have to do that, Jenny.
Yeah, I feel like you
know
have
some
to do it.
people.
Go ahead, Jen.
Okay, Jenny, if you're low on cash, definitely don't do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Travis, I was just talking about like on the back end, Sunny's the one that puts up the videos and stuff, and I've never done a live stream. I can put them up on my own computer, but I don't know that I'd be able to share them and stop them and whatever. So
Okay. There's Aspen's Cash App. If anyone wants to help donate and help him out. Okay. You don't have to, but if you want to, there's that. Aspen, he likes to blush. He has a hard time, but I know lots of you guys, that want to will do it if you need. I can, and I'm sure it would be very helpful because it's going to be a very costly trip.
It already has been.
Yeah,
I
know, right? Yeah.
But again, I was prepared to handle. I was prepared for it. So they said 2 weeks from now, if I get to Indiana and I'm like, I can't eat anymore, I might need people's help.
I know.
But,
yeah.
It's so funny. I chose to do this, so I don't expect anyone to help me.
Okay. So it's always funny because for me it's a hard thing, but for other people to do it, you guys, come on now, pull out your millions of bucks and help out Aspen, eh? Yeah. You know,
Was it here? Apparently I own half of Carroll County.
Mhm.
That's the rumor.
Apparently, yeah. And you own Ron Logan's, yeah.
All of it.
Don't forget about Aunt Fran too, right?
Yeah.
Your Aunt Franco, yeah.
I'm just
Okay.
getting paychecks all around.
Okay, guys. So, Charmaine, okay, go have a nice bath, or no, you already had one. Go to sleep, get rested, restrain any anger. Do you some, like, what is that called? You know, like some,
Meditation.
yeah, that shit. Okay,
Wait,
do some of that.
Can we say quickly though, that baby, Charmaine, you make cute kids, you make even cuter grandkids.
Oh,
They're
go
so-
on, go
they're so
on. You just don't want her to be mad at you no more.
No, that baby is adorable.
So cute.
I
And
know.
so unnatural looking in Charmaine's hands.
I couldn't agree more.
It was like she was handling a food item that she wasn't sure what to do with.
It's moving. What do I do?
Yeah. She means a green. They keep saying, seriously, they keep saying Aspen tried to buy the ranch, but family wanted it. Was that you?
Oh. I've been accused of a lot lately.
Yeah. And it's probably all true. Sad. Yeah, but you know what? We don't
Unless
care.
you hear the context of the confessions, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't say that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. I am literally so freaking hot right now.
Yeah.
Seriously,
I'm starving, so I'm gonna go eat.
Yeah.
I've been eating this whole time.
Charmaine's been mold. Well, she's probably like freaking every time she's trying to bite her tongue, she's like, here, freaking stick a pretzel in my mouth on there. Anyway, yeah. So it's Charmaine tomorrow night. Yeah, you in?
As long as I can get enough sleep, you bet I'm in.
Okay,
And I mean,
good.
I'll be in for the first 2 hours anyways.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
Just
if you told them,
because I need to hear what
She
happened.
says that like she's not gonna be up in 5 hours, being like, anything happening at the hearing?
It's ridiculous. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
night, everybody. Okay, before we get going, let's just say thank you again to Daisy and Gail Hurd. Thank you guys for your super chats there. So you guys have a great. Oh, my face looks. For a second, I caught myself and it's like stuck in. Ugh. Anyways, you guys have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow night. And yeah, thank you. Don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't. And
Thank you, Travis. Travis, thank you for being here. And I know Travis is a hot commodity, so thank you for like hanging out with us in the chat tonight, Travis.
yeah, has he been sleuting? Has he been? Is he in
Oh
our?
no, I mean I've appreciated his opinions that he's been putting out on other channels.
But is he?
What the fuck is that?
It's 11 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock. My dog he's over it. This
Wow.
is why I leave right away, you guys. This is why I dip out as soon as the live is done, because I him. He's an
Travis,
hour.
wow.
Shush.
Okay, have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Perfect night. The world is cold. We